What? Oh, it's a soundbite. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, the Rob Brown Show on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. Welcome in. Happy Wednesday, Hump Day, as that camel said 20 years ago, and you've all been saying it ever since. Pop culture phenomenon. It happens. Great to have you here on the midweek edition of the radio broadcast, a midweek edition of which we have plenty to discuss, debate.
Also, is it midweek when tomorrow is our last day this week? I don't know, I guess. Well, if there's 4 days, then midweek would have been like halfway through yesterday's show. Never mind.
No, I just quite literally just remembered we're off Friday.
By the way, these are my subtle ways of reminding Rob that we're off.
Yeah, pretty much it. Yeah, we're off Friday. So celebrating the freedom, the independence of this great nation as we and also, you know, this is pretty rad. I guess I don't know if this is like officially recognized or if it is just something that some of us dorks out here are going to do. The Independence Day of 2025 kind of begins a very interesting countdown in these great United States as the Independence Day of 2026 will be 250 years since the Declaration of Independence was signed in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That didn't really kick off the Revolutionary War, but it was obviously the marker at which everybody else in the world looked and went, oh, them boys serious.
They got that back from Nicolas Cage, right?
I don't, did he ever, I mean, I know they actually took it. I don't remember what happened at the end of National Treasure.
Oh, they found the treasure.
No, I know. Well, I know it would have been a really dumb movie if it was like
then they didn't
an hour and a half.
They got to keep a percentage.
Yeah, an hour and a half of following Nicolas Cage around as he tries to put together a conspiracy to steal the Declaration of Independence, and the movie ends with and then they arrest him, and then you go to the end credits. Like, that'd be a terrible movie.
Well, it was what, Harvey Keitel or whoever was the guy, was the main guy. That guy usually catches his guy in movies, so you know it wouldn't be that surprising.
I may.
And following Nicolas Cage around doing stuff is what we've done for decades now.
You know, I still haven't gotten around to that Nick Cage, Pedro Pascal movie, and I feel like I've made my life worse off for it.
I'm more interested in the surfer movie,
bro,
where he's a surfer, and then you know it's.
He's got another movie coming out where he's something like a big movie, like something coming out where. I don't remember what it is.
Well, remember he is Spider Noir.
That's it.
And they've already filmed it, but they got to do effects and stuff, so it won't be out till next year.
I'll tell you right now, I have got my tickets for a week from now tonight, as a matter of fact.
Oh, you're watching on Wednesday?
Yeah, we're going opening night.
Like I thought opening night was Thursday.
I think it's maybe
it's on the 10th, which is
that is Thursday night. I got my tickets
tomorrow. Hey, I'm excited too. You know,
my tickets for a week away for Superman. The same group of dudes will be purchasing our tickets for 2 weeks after that for Fantastic Four, and I'm very excited about those. I know we've got Endgame and Doomsday and all these other great movies coming out. I'm gonna go ahead and keep it a buck. Opening night for Spider-Man Noir. Nicolas Cage is Spider-Man.
Way, it's not in theaters. It's a series.
I thought it was a movie.
No, it's a TV series. I forget which network. It may be Disney, but for some reason, Sony did it, so it may not be on Disney. It may be on.
Well, because the animated Spider-Mans are Sony property, so that checks out. I'm all in. I don't care.
And this will be the last one because they have shelved all their Sony stuff. All their Spider-Man stuff.
Probably for the best. All right, we got a lot we got to get to on the radio program today. Plenty of stuff that we need to talk about. Plenty of stuff we need to dive into. We will get to some NASCAR on the radio broadcast today because we have now had a couple of days to look at the in-season tournament and how that race shaped up in Atlanta, Georgia. And I heard a very interesting take yesterday about the in-season race from our very dear friend, colleague, comrade in arms, Diesel, who had a thought about NASCAR and the in-season tournament. And I say this.
I thought he was on vacation.
He is, but he is still so good that even on vacation, he's got his Ingles Sports Minute that runs in the final hour of the show.
Way to go, Kerosene.
I know. And I heard that yesterday, and I was like, man, look at this guy. He's on vacation. He's texting me yesterday from the golf course, and yet he's still turning out his required and professionally obligated 60 seconds, even if everything he said in it was wrong. So we're going to come to that later on in the show. We got to get to some baseball. I'm not going to do this now, okay? So get your thoughts, collect them. Rationalize it as you need. Think through it. Be prepared for later if you wish to address it. The Braves are who the Braves are, and we are done. Last night's loss sealed the deal for me. I said over and over the last week, you took 5 out of 7 from the Mets. At the same time, I also pointed out to all of you that you caught the Mets in the middle of a ridiculously bad run. So it's good for Atlanta, but it's not impressive. Like, impressive will be if you can then turn around and take a couple from the Phillies. You did not. And then you come back to the crib, and you got the Angels. And the Angels are a good team, not a great team. They're hanging around 500. They'll probably finish in that spot, which, in fairness, is way outperforming what was expected of the Angels. The Braves last night got 6 innings of shutout pitching from Grant Holmes. 6 innings of shutout ball against the Angels. And they lost that game 4-0. Dylan Lee came in, and before he recorded 1 out, he gave up 3 runs. That broke the game open. The Braves went 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. That includes a lead-off triple in the 2nd inning, if I recall. Lead-off triple, you left that man stranded with 0 outs. 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. 9 runners left stranded for Atlanta in a game that if you tell me that a baseball team has a starting pitcher that gives you 6 innings of shutout baseball, if you tell me that you are guaranteeing me at minimum 9 runners on the base pass, if you are guaranteeing me in a game where a pitcher gives me 6 innings of shutout baseball, that my team will have 7 at-bats, not with runners on, with runners in scoring position, I'm going to take like minus 175 odds they're going to win that baseball game. Braves didn't. They didn't. And at the point that because I was checking in and out of this game last night, I was in on You Bet on the BetMGM network yesterday. Will be again today if you want to check that out from 3 to 7. We were talking about this team, and we were giving out our best bets, and the Braves were minus 200 on the money line to win that game yesterday. Angels plus 175 on the money line. So bet the Braves, you got to bet 200 to win 100. Bet the Angels, bet 100, win 175 in total. And we were giving out our best bets at the end of the show. And I said, take the Angels to win. And my amigo Jared, who's my co-host this week on this show, Jared says, Rob Brown, like, I know you're down, buddy. I know you're out. I know you're up in your feels right now. I get it, but you cannot think that your team at home, hitter-friendly park, hitter-friendly weather, you cannot believe that the Braves, as minus 200 favorites, are going to drop this game. And I said, how many more times are you or Ryan Horvat or Bradley Evans or Jake Hassan or Cody Decker or Double D, how many more times are any of y'all, just any of y'all at all, going to keep falling for this?
Pal.
As I believe it was Denny Green once said, they are who we thought they are. Well, they are who we think they are. It's a bad baseball team. There's no more dancing around it. There's no more stalling it out. There's no more, well, if X, then Y. I tuned into this game because I get my little text alerts about what's happening in the game if I happen to not be watching. Since I was on till 7, I went out to the living room to spend a little time with the wifey poo, sitting on the couch, having a nice little evening together, sipping some red wine. She had her, he's a butterfly farmer and she's a first grade teacher and they're in Charleston looking for a beach house with a budget of $2 million. And it's like, I hate these people.
Those are fairly interesting. They really
I love them.
Yeah,
We love them.
I mean, you know.
We are so 40. Not only were we watching it, but we were casting the nastiest dispersions on these people for their like choices in decor.
Oh, yeah.
Like those cabinets, Rebecca.
Yeah, my wife loves those shows, and I will go sit down and watch them with her, and I have the same problem. But we also go, oh yeah, that looks good. Never thought about that. Maybe we should try that.
Yeah, great shows. Love them all. Watch them all the time. And I realized yesterday there are 2 times when Rob Brown is a Class A butthole. 1, when you make me road rage, and 2, when you pick an ugly countertop to go in your 5'4" beach house on Myrtle Beach. Then I get real mad about it. I'm like, what? You basic ass. Oh, what do we do? Okay. Blah, blah, blah. See, the Braves got me twisted. Put that aside for a second. So I'm getting my my little text notifications about the Bravos game, and I get the notification that Clay Holmes has been yanked from the game after 6 innings of, I believe, 4-hit ball, 10 Ks, and no runs allowed. And I went, all right, well, I mean, I did just rip the boys on nationally syndicated radio. Not just that, the final hour of that show was broadcast on NBC Sports. So I ripped this team on national television and radio yesterday.
And you were right.
And I was right. But at the time,
that hurts, doesn't it?
At the time that the notification that Grant Holmes had been pulled out of the game after 6 innings of no-run 10K baseball, I was like, all right, well, I mean, if any team's going to make me look bad on national television, I'm glad it's this one. So I pulled it up on the phone. I put it up on the phone because I was like, hey, you never know. You never know. What are we going to see here? You never know. So I put it up on the phone, and I clicked it on over, and I looked at it, and I was watching, and then all of a sudden, Dylan Lee comes in. Again. Still don't understand. 0 outs, 3 runs allowed. Angels up 3. We give up 1 more later on in the game. Braves lose again. And as I sat there, 2 seats down from the wifey poo, enjoying our redecorating shows, because we're 40. Enjoying our redecorating shows, my mood, and this is how I knew I've given up, my mood didn't change. Now, that's a game that 2 weeks ago had this happen. I'd have gone, son of them! What are we doing here? I'd have lost it. Genuinely, I would have been like, babe, I love you. I need like 15 minutes. I'm going to go into the back, into the bro cave. I'm going to pull up like a YouTube video of cute puppies, and I'm gonna meditate for a minute. All right, or I'm gonna walk over there to the fridge, and I'm gonna go ahead and take 2 big cold Miller Lights and pour them into a mug, and I'm just gonna pound both of those. I just need a little mental adjustment, little mental reset here. And instead, what I did was I took the phone, I swiped out of the stream, I got up, I walked to the island in the living room, I set it down, I walked back to the couch, and I said, the next time that I touch that telephone tonight is when I set the alarm to go to bed this evening, because if I get another text update about what went wrong, I'm going to lose my gosh darn rootin' tootin' mind over it.
Okay, I thought you had truly given up until the last thing you said. So you haven't truly given up.
No, I have given up.
Because if you've truly given up, you swipe the window closed, you leave the phone right next to you, and you just don't care. Or you go in and turn the alerts off. That's when you know you're completely done, is when you turn those alerts off.
You know, when I was in Jacksonville, Florida, the butthole of America, TM. When I was in Jacksonville, Florida, and I came home. And I found a young lady that I had, part of the reason I moved to Jacksonville for, underneath another dude. I said to myself, I don't care. And I didn't care. Like, I was, like, in that moment, and I'm glad she did it, because, like, that would have saved months and months and months of drawn out, like, being in my feels and being all butthurt. And I needed to be ready to move on so that when I got this opportunity a month and a half later, like, I was in a good mental headspace to take it. I'm glad it happened. I gave up. Not gave up. I was over it. I hated her. I was ready to move on. I didn't care about that relationship anymore. And then I got here. Everything was going great. And like 4 or 5 days after I moved here, I'm scrolling through the Facebook. And it turns out that she went on a date with a dude that, I'm going to say he was a friend, but it was like a buddy of mine down in Jacksonville. And even though I was over it, And I was, even though I never wanted to talk to her again, and I didn't, even though I did not care what she did with the rest of her life, and I didn't. Seeing a picture of her with a dude that, like, I had a couple of beers with here and there, and I thought we were buddies, you kind of brought that, like, you're like, I don't care, but I'm a little mad about this. It's kind of that. I'm done. I'm over it. I don't care. Like, I'm not going to let the Braves ruin my night. In fact, not only not let them ruin my night, I'm actually going to actively invest in everything else. It doesn't mean that I wanted a push notification coming across my screen 15 minutes later with, you know, a recap of the game and how Grant Holmes had another lights out game and still lost and still had to watch the L. Now, he didn't take the L. Dylan Lee did, but you get the point. Yeah, I didn't have any reaction at all to the loss last night. Last night's loss for the Atlanta Braves was not the moment that broke me. The moment that broke me, I can't put a pin on it. I can't say it was this game, this day, this move, this, whatever. The moment that broke me was not one that I can identify. What I know is that there were two from last night that proved to me that I have been broken. Number one was, and this one was like a point I've been making for a while, came to life. I got the game on my phone, and it's on its little, you know, you got your little desk stand, and it's on the coffee table in the living room because the big TV's got the redecorating and buy houses that I'll never be able to afford shows on them. And I look down, Braves down 3, everything's going wrong. Boys can't hit, boys can't run the bases, like it's just going bad. And they're talking about Brian Snitker. Now, I don't have the sound on, but I got the closed captions on because, again, I'm 40 and I can't hear anything anymore. So I got the captions on. They're talking about Snit. And they turn the camera over to Brian Snitker in the dugout. And so you've heard me make fun of this a lot of times. Last night, it literally happened. They go to Snit. Snit's in the corner, and he's sitting on the bench, and he's slouched down like this right here. Right? Like the universal sign of either I'm frustrated or I'm totally checked out of this event. And he's staring off into space. And then I watch this man with his team down 3. Still plenty of innings left to win the game. Camera's in his face, zoomed in. And I see this, so.
Maybe he's having trouble breathing. I mean.
Then take your ass on home to bed, Brian. He's not having trouble sleeping. He's bored because he's not doing anything.
Well, I mean,
it's the same crap every night. Nothing changed. We switched the center fielder one time.
Another manager could make the Braves a winning team.
Anybody to do anything. If you go out and you're 9 games below 500 and you're 11 now games off the NL East and you are doing nothing to change it, how many times do you have to run nose first into a brick wall before you go, I don't know, maybe go around it, maybe go over it, maybe don't run that way, go a different way, maybe if I can see if I can tunnel under it, literally anything, and the Braves run into a brick wall, and they go, ow, that hurt. All right, let's try it again. Oh, that hurt. Okay, let's try it again. Oh, that hurt. Let's do it again. Oh, that hurt. It's just that. And when you are in that spot, in that game, in a series that is pivotally consequential, not to get in, but to give yourself a fraction of a chance to maybe steal a wild card. And they look over at the manager in a 3-run game that is a winnable game. And he is leaned back, slumped over, staring out into space. And they actively, in lovely 4K HD, zoom in on him, and he goes, because it was like 8:30 at night. Oh, and by the way, while he's over there yawning on the bench, the Braves are now behind the Miami Marlins in the NL East. The Miami Marlins. The Miami Marlins. That's where this team's at right now. So now, when all of that happened, and I saw Snit yawning, and I got texted going, hey, if we lose this game, we're behind Miami by a buddy of mine. And I went, yeah, okay. And I just put the phone aside. I'm done. I'm broken. It's it. It's over. It's cooked. So it's this segment. Back after this, the Rob Brown Show, the Fan Upstate. Good morning, people. Welcome in. Good news is I don't have to be angry about the Braves on the air. I'm just going to insult them a lot today. BRB, dudes. Is the month of July.
Go on out there and get you something to drink in July because it's hot outside.
Why aren't these charging? They are. A number of weeks ago, I asked a question about the University of Texas. The Longhorns are one of the shortest two odds to win this year's college football national championship. The Longhorns, of course, this year will be led by Arch Manning, the grandson of the legendary Archie Manning, the nephew, of course, of Peyton and Eli and Cooper and the rest of the gang. Football royalty in the mind of one Rob Brown. So there has been going on a discussion about Arch Manning. The discussion is this guy going to be real good. But I asked the question a number of months ago, if Arch Manning is him, and it is this evident that he is him, why did the Longhorns of Texas stick with Quinn Ewers as long as they did? And I got a bunch of answers from a lot of different people. Those answers were, they wanted to give him time, and it was about development, and, Arch is committed to the program. They know he's not going to the league, so they knew they had probably 2 years with him as QB1, so they wanted to make sure. A bunch of answers, and for a team that made a run at a national championship last year, none of those answers were good enough for me. They just weren't. Because at the end of the day, while I respect and appreciate the concept of loyalty in sports, we've talked about that obviously with Dabo Swinney how many hundreds of times. I get it. I understand it. Whatever. At the same time, you go with the guy who can win a game, especially when you are going for a national championship. You go with the guy that can win it. So then last week, legendary.
Yeah, what would Nick Saban do?
We know what Nick Saban would do because Nick Saban done it. Nick Saban switched quarterbacks when he felt like his backup gave him a better chance to win, despite the fact that the guy that was starting was a Nick Saban guy. You got to get you're here to win the game. We're taking back a lot of old coaching quotes. You play to win the game. So I asked the question a number of times. If Arch is that good, and don't get me wrong, as a lifelong New Orleans Saints fan, I hope Arch is that good. I do. I'd love to see the Manning family legacy continue. The Mannings are football. Football has more than one royal family. I hope he does well. But why would they not have made that move for over a guy who went in the 7th round of the NFL draft? If the belief truly is that Arch Manning is a top 2, top 3, top 4 draft pick in the NFL. Last week, Steve Spurrier, legendary South Carolina Gamecock coach, who also coached at Florida a little while. He asked the same question, and people online had a visceral reaction to it. How dare Steve Spurrier ask that question? And I said, how about you answer it? It's a good question. How about you answer it? Well, yesterday, a college football talking head addressed the situation. Now, I do my best not to play too many Paul Feinbaum clips on the show because, again, I've given you my thoughts. All due respect to Paul, he found a niche. He plays that niche exceptionally well. He has become very rich because of the niche. And good on Paul for figuring out how to play and win the game. It's not my style. I don't like it, but it ain't up to me. It doesn't matter. It matters if y'all do, and Paul seems to be doing pretty well. So I don't do a lot of Paul clips because most of the clips I hear from his show are the lowest common denominator of college football fans who I just have no interest in hearing from or about. That being said, Paul's got takes. And Paul yesterday was asked on ESPN by the legendary Malik Karam what his thoughts on Arch Manning and the Texas Longhorns are. And he said this.
The absolute roof. I think there's a reasonably good chance that Arch Manning will be sitting on the front row in New York at the Heisman ceremony. That's assuming that his team does what it's supposed to do and compete for not only the SEC, but for the national championship. And I really believe they will. I think Steve Sarkisian, who's one of the most amazing play callers I've ever seen, made a critical mistake late in the year. He was way too loyal to Quinn Ewers, who was banged up and was really ineffective. Had Arch Manning been instituted in the second half of that game, like Nick Saban did a couple of years ago with Tagovailoa, I think there's a reasonably good chance that Texas would have beaten Ohio State and won the national championship. They're very capable of doing it again this year. I believe also that Arch Manning is the best college football quarterback we have seen since Tim Tebow entered the scene in 2006.
The best college football quarterback that we have seen since Tim Tebow entered the scene in 2006, which was, by the way, coming up on 20 years ago. Cool. I'm kind of in this spot because on one hand, like, I want Arch to be good. Even if he is at Texas, I want Arch to be good.
I mean, he's a Nepo baby. I mean, so if you're into that, I mean, because it seems like a lot of people are against the Nepo baby thing. So, you know, I mean, so he's got to strike against them right away. Because the only reason why he's got that position has nothing to do with skill. It's because of who his daddy and his granddaddy and his uncles are.
If Arch Manning is indeed the best college quarterback that we have seen since Tim Tebow entered the seed in 2006, then that's not a Nepo baby thing. That's just a dude who's really good. Now, in fairness, he may have been on the radar a little bit earlier than some other kids that have been playing at other schools and maybe don't have those connections.
You know, I was being sarcastic.
Oh, I know.
To a degree, but how much hype have we heard about this guy? I mean, there was so much hype when he got done with high school.
The hell do you mean was? I mean, was so much hype.
What I'm saying is there was a lot of hype early on that made you think, oh, this is LeBron coming out. I mean, you know, it just, and then when's he started?
I think that's part of the Feinbaum's point, though, right?
And Quinn Ewers got drafted where? At what round?
7th.
Yeah, I agree with Spurrier here. If he is so good, if he's as good as Tim Tebow, why wasn't he starting? I know Tim Tebow didn't start. I know. But he was at his first, year or 2 years, he was just the guy who came in to jump pass and run the ball. And then later on, he got the starting nod. So maybe in that respect, that he's behind the guy, I don't.
There was a spot.
Who remembers who was in front of Tim?
For the record, all right, I do. Chris Leak. Let's go with this. I would like to say that, in fairness, the career arcs of those two quarterbacks, not terribly far apart, because Chris Leak was the starter at Florida. Tim Tebow came in specialty spots, came in goal line packages, came in for the jump pass, came in specialty spots, until it got to the point that it was just very obvious that Tim Tebow was the better option, and then he started getting more and more regular snaps over Chris Leak until eventually they made the switch under, who was it, Ron Zook or whoever was there at the time. So the arc is very similar, and I want to be very clear. I'm not saying that Arch Manning isn't everything we're being told that Arch Manning is. He may very well be. And it may very well be that everything that has been said about him is true. And it may very well be that Sark, because again, Sark should know these guys better than we do. It may very well be true that Sark, who has watched Arch play more football in the past 3 days than you and I have watched him play in his lifetime so far, Sark may have watched this kid developing and practicing and training and whatever, and said, this kid's going to be a legend, but we need to get some polish on him. We need to polish him up a little bit. He needs to be more adept at this and get more ready for that. He's got the tools, he's got the weaponry, he's got the head, but we need to get the mechanics down, or whatever the case might be. It might very well be that Sark has played the Arch Manning situation perfect, and by not placing him in a high-pressure situation last year, even if it cost him a natty, by not playing him in a high-pressure situation, he has given Arch Manning the time to get there and to develop and to be ready to go and yada, yada, yada. But what I'm interested here in is when I hear clips like this one from Paul, it is getting progressively more difficult for me to believe that the hype around Arch Manning is accurate when even Paul says, look, it was a mistake not to play this kid last year down the stretch. It was a mistake not to give him a chance at the Buckeyes. It was a mistake not to have him in pressure situations.
Maybe he was protecting him from the Buckeye defense.
That's exactly where I was going.
Yeah.
I think that it is also fair, and in the same vein as we are doing some speculation with hindsight being 2020, it is also possible, because Ohio State had some dudes up front across that front seven last year. Maybe it's possible that Steve Sarkisian was looking at him and going, look, like, he's not ready to face that rush yet. He's not there. We don't have him that developed yet. Quinn Ewers has done this. He's been a starter. So even if this kid might be more naturally talented, the point of all of that is there's a bunch of reasons that Sark may not have wanted to go to Arch Manning down the stretch. What I am saying here is, and I guess maybe to some degree I'm a little bit guilty because we've been doing it with Lenora Sellers quite a bit, it just feels odd to me that so many people, because there's some guys on the network I butted heads with about this, so many people are like, yo, Texas to win the Natty. Why? Arch. I'm like, that. There's a lot of other good teams and a lot of other good quarterbacks out there. Yeah, no, but it's Arch. And now I got Paul Feinbaum saying this kid is the best college football quarterback since Timmy Terrific in 06. I'm like, you know how many really good quarterbacks have come through college? Really good. Pick another comparison. Not a guy who is like the standard. Are we saying Arch is going to be the standard and he has not had a you're the QB1 snap yet? I'm not saying any of it's wrong. I'm just saying it feels a little overwhelming to me right now. It feels a little over the top right now that this kid's being declared the Heisman winner before he takes a snap. It just feels like that the pressure on this kid's shoulders is ridiculous. And I wonder if you're not going to weigh him down with too much pressure before we get to week one. Because, hey, Lonzo, who's Texas play and where do they play him in week one?
Some place that I think I've been before.
Columbus,
yeah,
Ohio, where he'll line up across from the Ohio State University. And this is the pressure you're putting on the kid before that game, before the Ohio State University? That's ridiculous. Back after this on The Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. See, Tracy, a lot of people are going down that path. And my question is, why? Now, in fairness, you opened up your sentence with, I don't know why, which I respect and appreciate the I believe but don't know why.
Well, we'll see pretty soon if he's as good as advertised, if he is great, if he is the next Tim Tebow. Not just in that game, but the entire season.
I'm not even an acolyte of the cult of Tebow, and even I'm like, come on, dog. Really? Tim Tebow, that's you're comparing this man to one of the most legendary quarterbacks of all time on what? It just feels over the top. And if there's one thing I hate, it's people being over the top. I'm gonna grab a water because I'm going to finish this one there. In a weird way, I kind of want to talk about that. 35 years, what was it, like 38 states he visited? He did like 2,000 events. That's ridiculous. I wonder what that guy got paid.
Well,
legitimately.
There's also,
if y'all know what we're talking about,
famous with anonymity. I mean, you got to be good at it, though.
Yeah, I will tell you this. Somebody who's had plenty of interactions with mascots and people who have been mascots. It is a talent. Like, you have to be good at it. And they put years into the craft of being a mascot. The guy who plays Stomper for the Swamp Rabbits, he's I say this lovingly, he's the nicest kid. He's a complete weirdo. But when he puts on that rabbit head, dude, he is like, but there is no moment where he freezes. No moment that he doesn't know what to do as Stomper that's not wildly entertaining. It's unbelievable. The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, and you, 844-326-3663 is the number. Let's talk NBA for just a few minutes. And if you don't like NBA shooty hoops, you got like another 2-3 days where the NBA is going to be a big-time feature on the show because NBA free agency remains underway. And there is, let's just say, a lot going on right now that kind of has to be discussed. We saw a bunch more moves yesterday. That includes Damian Lillard being waived by the Milwaukee Bucks. It's a great spot for him because while he will miss a large chunk, if not most of the season next year with the Achilles, there was already a lot of interest in Damian Lillard. The Heat want him. There's discussions going on right now that say that Golden State has reached out to Damian Lillard to add him into the rotation along with a handful of other teams. Myles Turner, the big man for the Indiana Pacers, who I think sees the writing on the wall in Indiana, that without Tyrese, they are not making a run back through the East next year like they did last year. He is out. He is on his way to Milwaukee, where a lot of the salary that the Bucks are not paying Damian Lillard will now go to Myles Turner in a move that I don't really understand because I don't think enough people watch a video. Because what did Myles Turner do in the Eastern Conference Finals or in the NBA Finals? What was the role of Myles Turner? Myles Turner had at least 2 finals games as a 7-footer where he ended with 4 rebounds. Against Chet Holmgren? Against Chet. With all due respect to Chet. Chet ain't exactly a monster down there on the glass. 4 boards for a guy who got picked up by Milwaukee yesterday. Am I the only one that watches film? I don't get it. So, a lot of moves going on. But one of the most interesting situations that is playing out right now, and we are not going to talk about this guy relentlessly, and I also know that a lot of you do not care, and that's okay. But I still think that there is a reason that we talk about the cat. And what has happened in the life of LeBron James the last couple of days, I honestly think is a very valid topic of conversation. LeBron James, on the day that free agency opened up, had a player option this offseason. Basically, it was up to LeBron to sign a 1-year deal for $51 million or to say, yeah, I've had fun here, I'm out, and take off and head anywhere else that he wants to go. Well, LeBron James elected to sign his 1-year player option with the Los Angeles Lakers, so he will stay in Tinseltown for 1 more season. But that was not the part of this story that is interesting to me. And I talked about this briefly yesterday. I'm going to bring it back up because it does lead to where I'm going next. After he signed the 1-year player deal, LeBron James, who we all know loves the spotlight. He's on every podcast he can be on. He was on New Heights, and he was on Pat McAfee, and he was on with Steve Nash, and he had his own podcast for a long time, and he's in the movies, and he's in the TV shows, and he's on the talk show. LeBron, whether you like him or hate him, and I am a LeBron guy, LeBron has never met a microphone and a camera that he did not like, which is why I found it so interesting that after he signed his 1-year player option for over $51 million, I found it, I guess interesting is the best word, that LeBron didn't have anything to say. LeBron did not go public. Didn't get in front of a camera, didn't get on a microphone, didn't drop a pod, didn't even go live on Instagram to talk about it. LeBron has gone live on Instagram before just to eat a taco on Tuesday, right? Like he'll go live on Instagram because he knows he's going to get 1 million live viewers to watch him eat a taco on Taco Tuesday.
He also tried to copyright that, didn't he?
He also tried to copyright that. And again, whatever. Like rich people do dumb stuff. It's not whatever. I don't care. LeBron didn't even go live on IG to say, what up, Laker Nation? I'm back. One more. What do you say? Instead, the only statement that we got from LeBron's camp was from his agent, Rich Paul. And Rich Paul's statement about LeBron signing his player option was not, LeBron's really excited. LeBron's happy to be back. LeBron loves JJ Redick, and so he's all in. LeBron loves LA. None of that. Rich Paul had two things to say about LeBron James signing his contract extension. Thing that Rich Paul had to say, number one, was, we signed the player option because it was the only way to do a one-year deal. And we don't know how much LeBron is going to have left after this season. And thing number two that LeBron's agent, Rich Paul, had to say was, while he is signing in L.A., there are expectations from LeBron that the L.A. Lakers will be competing for a world championship next year. And without directly and openly saying it, he kind of said it, the it being, we expect the Lakers are going to build a championship team this year around LeBron. Well, if you look at the starting five for the LA Lakers right now, because remember, Dorian Finney-Smith is gone. Handful of guys have left in free agency. Zoe and I are both big fans of Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves is not a starter in the NBA. He's a wonderful off-the-bench six-man. Wonderful off-the-bench six-man. He is not in my opinion, not a starter in the NBA. He is right now a starter for the Lakers.
I was going to say, I think he started the entire most of the season, didn't he?
He started in spots where guys were injured, but is not, to me, let me rephrase that. Austin Reeves is not a starter on a team that is a legitimate
I think
threat
he
for a
became
championship.
starter after the trade. I could be wrong.
I think he got some starts after the trade, but I don't think he was a full-time starter. In fact, I think he was used as much to be the direct backup for Luka Doncic as he was anything. But regardless, even if he was last year, I think I'm going to phrase it as Austin Reeves is not a starter on a team that is a legitimate NBA championship contender, in my opinion. Wonderful six-man, can play that TJ McConnell, Alex Caruso role, hustle guy, glue guy, grit monster, turnover machine, whatever you want to call him. Not a starter. They don't have a championship team in LA right now. They have LeBron. They got Luka Doncic. Quick, outside of Austin Reeves, name me another Laker. TikTok. Exactly, right? Like, few people can do it. Not a championship team. So LeBron says, via Rich Paul, I expect that this team is going to put together a championship roster because I expect to compete for a championship while I'm here. And the vibe I got from that whole message was, I'm here, I'm in for one more. And you got two options. Trade me to a contender, and it's my option. Or B, build a championship team, because if you don't, I'm going to do my 1 year if you don't trade me, and then I'm out. Well, then we got some interesting news yesterday. Yahoo Sports NBA reporter Kevin O'Connor dropped this little ditty.
All reports are that the Lakers are still trying to retain cap space for the future. I think they want LeBron James to ask out for a trade and for them to have a clean slate moving forward, because it sure as hell is hard to build the way they may want to build with LeBron James making over $50 million, being over 40 years old, being a guy with maybe only 1 year left on his contract. I think the Lakers want LeBron to move on from them. There's speculation among league front offices that LeBron is angling for a buyout. I can't imagine why the Lakers would just give him a buyout. I just don't see it. I just don't see why they would do that. It just seems silly to me. You got to get something back for LeBron rather than just say, hey, you want to go? We're going to buy you out after you opted into your $50 million contract. It just seems silly to me.
So according to Kevin O'Connor of Yahoo Sports, who covers the NBA for that outfit, there is speculation amongst league offices that the Lakers are hoping that LeBron says, you know what? I don't want to be here anymore. Buy me out of my contract and I'll take off. But because the option was LeBron's, not the Lakers, if they are going to do that, and if LeBron does want out via a buyout, they would have to just give him $51 million and watch him walk out the door. That's for 1 year, by the way. That's for 1 year. So they are hoping that LeBron just says, you know what? I'm a takeoff. Or what is likely going to happen, if Kevin O'Connor is correct here, LeBron signs, he comes back, and the Lakers just don't build they just don't build a championship team around him. They just don't. They just say, you know what? We have already started setting up for our post-LeBron era. And we know that once your salary comes off the books, that is going to be a lot of money that we can put towards the next set of Laker stars to build around Luka Doncic, because that was the reason we went and found a 25-year-old star, is to build around him. We can't do that with both you and Luka's salary on the books. So we need you gone, whether we just have to wait you out for one more year, you and Luka go out there, play a year, we'll do the farewell tour as a Laker, if not as an NBA player, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Then we're going to cut you loose. Or you're going to have to demand out, and we're going to have to find a trade partner that wants to pick up your contract. But it's got to be a team that has got the cap room to pick up a 1-year, $51 million deal. Or maybe the Lakers offer to pick up like $4, $5, $6, $10 million of it, and it becomes a 1-year, $42, $43 million deal. But all indications are that right now, there aren't any teams that are interested in picking up LeBron James' contract as it currently stands, meaning this might get ugly, but here's my favorite part about it. If it does get ugly, and if the Lakers stink next year because it's LeBron, it's Luka, and it's Austin Reeves, and then it's a bunch of nobodies outside of them, then what? Because you know who else is just a year and a half away from their contract coming up? Luka Doncic. And so if it gets to the point that it gets ugly with LeBron and this team stinks out loud next year, what happens? If Braun goes, I'm out, and Luka goes, you know what? I thought, even though I got traded here and it wasn't my choice, I thought I was coming to the organization, the franchise, the spot, but you guys don't know what you're doing. I want out too. It's a small, but there is a larger than 0% chance that the 2026 Los Angeles Lakers season begins without LeBron or Luka Doncic on that team, which means they would go from the heist of the century, AD for Luka, pretty much straight up, with a franchise being built around that cornerstone, to 2 years later, having neither of those dudes and having nothing to work with to get the next guy.
All right, so I don't believe any of this. I believe that LeBron is going to play at the Lakers, and this is his final season. That's what I believe. I believe there's a lot of hype and speculation. I do have a question, though. There was a time when if LeBron was on your team, you automatically were a championship contender. When did that go away? Because that still existed last year. Just suddenly this year, it's no longer true? I mean, he's been old for a while now.
He's been old for a while now. Me too, LeBron. Don't worry about it. I don't think that is necessarily true. And I would also, even as a Braun guy, and this is one of the arguments that has been made by so many, and we are, listen to me closely, Upstate. We are not doing LeBron v. Michael today. We're not doing it. It's not happening. Not today. I don't know that criticism has ever not existed for LeBron James. Now, in fairness, it gets heaped on LeBron as if it's untrue about literally any superstar ever. But I don't necessarily think that statement has ever been true. I think you are more of a championship front runner if you have LeBron. But just like an NBA team, you've got to build around your dude. When Luka came over.
See, I disagree. I think any team, if LeBron's on it, they've been a championship contender right away because he was on it. And I don't think there's any other player in the league that you could say that about now.
I don't think there has ever been a player you could say that about, period. I do not think there is a player in the history of the NBA that you could say, this guy walking in your uniform makes you a championship contender by himself. I don't think you can say about Mike. I don't think you can say it about Kobe. I don't think you can say about Magic, Larry, Kareem, none of them. Every one of those dudes had dudes. Every one of them. And listen, I'll say this about LeBron. If the Lakers, with him, Luka, and Austin Reeves as a starter next year, make a championship run, I think LeBron puts a lot of critics to bed.
I have another thing to throw out there. Where has LeBron played that he hasn't won a championship?
Where has LeBron played that he hasn't had at least 2 All-Stars?
Where has LeBron played where he hasn't won a championship?
Where has LeBron played where he hasn't had great teammates?
Can you say that about any other player? Maybe Tracy McGrady. I don't know. But can you say that about any other player that wherever they went, they won a championship?
I mean, Kobe Bryant, but he was there at one place.
No.
Michael Jordan, one place.
No. Wherever they went, they won a championship.
I don't disagree.
Name me another player.
I don't disagree.
So that means automatically, if LeBron goes to a team, they're a championship contender.
Yes, when he has a Kyrie Irving in Cleveland, when he has
I mean,
Bosh
you
and
can
Wade in
throw-
Miami.
You can
when
throw all those caveats out there, but here's the thing: you can't name another player.
Yeah,
Who
I
is
just
that?
did. Kobe and Michael. Every year those guys played for their teams.
They never
were
went anywhere
champions.
else. They never went anywhere else.
Right.
So,
you, whoa,
so
whoa,
the
you
only
didn't
one
wait.
who's-
You didn't qualify it with
I
multiple
did.
teams.
I said everywhere he's gone, he's won a championship.
Right. Same with Michael and Kobe.
Yeah.
Granted,
okay.
they were in one place.
All right.
But they were. Here's the thing. I
Okay.
would say, was there a year that Michael was in Chicago that the Bulls weren't a championship squad?
By the way, Michael went to another team, didn't win a championship with it.
Yeah, he was 40. And bad Mike.
How old is LeBron?
Listen, you don't have to win me over. I'm a LeBron's the GOAT guy.
You don't sound like it.
I'm a LeBron's the GOAT
You
guy.
definitely don't sound
What
like
I'm
it.
saying is you're doing the same thing you do with quarterbacks where it's like, oh, well, it didn't win. It's not an individual game.
I just threw a stat out there that you can't dispute.
I
You
disputed
can't.
it.
Everywhere he's gone, he's won a championship. Name another player that's done that. Oh, well, this team.
Michael Jordan.
No, that's everywhere he's gone. I get what you're doing here. It's wrong that you're doing it because you can't name another player. It's wrong. Yeah, everywhere. But Michael Jordan didn't. You can't put him in there.
Shaquille O'Neal.
You could. No.
Shaq Daddy.
No.
Was a championship threat
Not
everywhere he went.
No, he didn't win a championship everywhere he went. LeBron did.
If LeBron goes to Miami and it's not Bosh and Wade, did they win a title there?
It doesn't matter. The stat is out there. Everywhere LeBron has gone, they've won a championship. Name another player that's done that, and you can't. I mean, you could look it up and probably find some, but right now, off the top of your head, you can't think of one. So wherever he's gone, he's won a championship. Therefore, if he's on your team, you're automatically a championship contender.
I mean, if you want to dismiss everyone else on a team for one guy, have at it. That's your prerogative.
I don't know
do
what you're
that
talking
about
about.
a team
I mean,
game.
you cannot dispute what I just said was true.
No, I just did.
No, you didn't.
I did.
It's
You
absolute
don't
truth.
like it,
no.
and you don't like my argument,
Rob,
but I did
dude,
do it.
Come on. It's the absolute truth, and you can't say it's not the truth.
We're coming
Everywhere
back to
he
this
went, he won a championship.
because I don't think Lonzo understands what a team game
No,
is.
I don't think you understand what I said.
All right, well, congrats to Lakers. You're winning a championship next year because LeBron's there.
That's not what I said.
Congrats, Upstate. You're going to win a championship. Well, at least here, a championship quality sports flash. Ah, I was so close.
Leave the room with your head down. Leave the room with your head down.
Team
Leave
game.
the room with
You're
your
exactly
head down.
what LeBron was complaining
The Atlanta
about.
Braves were shut out
Your
at
fault.
home again. His head was down, by the way. The Atlanta Braves were shut out at home again last night, dropping a 4-0 result to the Angels. Grant Holmes threw 6 shutout innings, striking out 10, but Dylan Lee was tagged for 3 runs while recording just 1 out. The Indiana Fever won the WNBA Commissioner's Cup with a 74-59 win over Minnesota last night, despite not having Caitlin Clark due to an injury. Former Gamecock Aaliyah Boston had a dozen points with 11 boards and 6 assists. That's pretty good. Coco Gauff was bounced in the opening round at Wimbledon yesterday, becoming just the 3rd woman to do so right after claiming the French Open. The world number 2 ranked Gauff dropped to unseeded Diana Yastremska. I think I did it. On the number 1 court, world number 3 and fellow American Jessica Pegula was also bounced. Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show coming up. My stat cannot be disputed. Hopefully he remembers to come back.
And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you.
Girl.
You're fired. You didn't say that. Tell me you did not just say that.
No hard feelings, Point Break.
Oh, no.
Welcome back into the Rob Brown Show. I don't know where Rob is. I think he tripped in the hallway. He probably forgot what time it was. No, he didn't forget what time it was. But since he's, this was my time to prove my point while he wasn't here to say anything.
Patrick McCraw is the greatest NBA player of all time.
Knew that's what he was doing.
Patrick
did
McCraw.
Did he win a championship everywhere
For
he
every
went?
team he played for.
Every team he played for.
There were 2 of them, but he did it. You hit the qualifications. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's name it. It is LeBron James and Patrick McCraw, who are the 2 greatest NBA players of all time.
I never said they were greatest. Here's what I said. Everywhere they went, they won a championship. Good for Patrick McCraw. So there's only been 2? That's all you can find out was 2?
That's all I can find.
Okay. All right.
The next guys.
You keep changing what I said. And all I said is everywhere LeBron went, he won a championship. That means expectations anywhere he goes is that he's going to win a championship for that team. That's what I said. Hey, you disputed it.
No,
I don't know why you disputed it.
Because you don't.
It's cold, hard facts,
Because you don't care what I say.
No, you don't care what I say.
No, I do.
You came right in and tried to say I said something I didn't say.
No, I did not.
Yeah, you did. You said championship. I mean, you said whatever. I mean, it's 7 o'clock.
It's 7 o'clock. The point that I'm making is, just like when we talked about the ring culture thing from LeBron James last week, just like we talk about with quarterbacks in the NFL, you are, in my opinion, dismissing the team element of a team game. You are dismissing looking at the context of a player.
You're not listening to what I asked. The question is if LeBron comes to your team, do you expect a championship? And yes, you do, because everywhere he's went, he's won a championship. And he's already won one with the Lakers. So it's not like he hasn't gone there and not produced. He has. And if he goes to another team, which I don't think he's going to do, he's going to stay where he is. This is going to be his last year. He signed a contract. He's going to stay with the Lakers. All this trade talk is LeBron's not talking. We got to say something about LeBron because it generates the clicks. What it comes down to is if he did go somewhere else, the expectations would be that team automatically has a shot at a championship.
So if he went
even
to
at 40, 41, whatever his age
if he went
is.
to the, let's do the Jordan thing. If he went to the Washington Wizards right now, you think they're a championship team?
Does that team still exist?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I think the expectations would be that if he went there and, if he went to Washington and won a championship, that would make some people really, really upset. Now I hope he goes there because that would be hilarious. The story that you just gave us, the possibility that you just gave us, that if he went to Washington right now at his age and won a championship, some people would have to shut up.
I do not do hypotheticals because I think they're a waste of time when it comes to stuff like this.
You just did.
Cool. Let me finish where I'm going here.
Okay.
I don't like doing hypotheticals like that. Well, what if we put player X on team Y? Because I think they're a waste of time when there's plenty of stuff to talk about. I'll do one here. LeBron James in his prime ain't winning a title with the Washington Wizards right now, and that is more about the Wizards than LeBron. At the end of the day, if a player goes out and averages 60 a game.
Who's on the Washington Wizards, by the way?
That's my point.
Yeah,
That's my point.
I mean,
LeBron being on your team.
who was on Cleveland when he was there?
Kyrie Irving.
Who they drafted?
Kyrie Irving.
Who they drafted? Yeah.
You asked who was on the team. The answer is Kyrie, who is one of, and I say this with and you know how I feel about Kyrie as a dude. Kyrie Irving's one of the greatest ball handlers I've ever watched play. Kyrie Irving, as a rookie, was one of the greatest ball handlers
without
I've
a
ever
doubt.
watched.
It was so much fun to watch.
Dude was a goat. I don't want to say goat.
But he's also a powder and believes the earth is flat.
correct, but he's still one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Kyrie Irving was on that
Everywhere
team.
he's been, though, he hasn't won a championship or has had expectations that he could win a championship.
I agree, which is why he's not in a GOAT conversation like LeBron is all the time. But that's not the point. The point is, it would be, to me, foolish as a basketball fan, to dismiss LeBron James having played for some really good teams and really good coaches over the years just to say he by himself is inherently going to make everywhere a championship
That's your
team.
point. My point was that anywhere he's gone, automatically, it's a championship expectation.
All right, then what does that mean in the context of this conversation? Take it to the next step for me. Walk me through this. That statement is true. You are correct. What's that mean?
Well, my original question is, has he lost that? And you act like he never had it. That's
No, I
the
didn't.
thing. If he gets traded, which is not going to happen, it's just a big story about nothing. But if he gets traded, that team automatically is going to be a championship contender. Automatically.
The Lakers today are not a championship contender. Right now, this second, they are not. They're not. Who's their big man? They don't have one. They didn't go get
I
one.
just said if he gets traded. And here's the thing. What I said is still true. He won a championship. The three teams that he's been with. He's already won a championship in Los Angeles.
We can put that to bed. I agree. You're right. Okay, everybody? Lonzo's 100% correct. I agree with you. What's that mean for this year? Today, you said if we get traded, that team. I am telling you, the team he is actively currently on today, right now, is not a championship contender today, right now. That's my point. My point is, yes, you are correct.
Other than Dallas and Houston, I guess you could say OKC. Who is a championship contender right now in the NBA?
The Oklahoma City Thunder.
I already said that.
The Houston Rockets. I know I'm going through them all. The Oklahoma City, the Houston Rockets.
I also said Dallas.
So
if you look at the roster, which
I don't think, for the record, I don't think Dallas is either.
Which didn't work in New Jersey and didn't work in other places where they put a bunch of teams together. But as roster, if everyone's healthy, Dallas has the best roster right now. As far as stars go, and if they fit together, Dallas right now is probably the team.
I would say
Although I don't think Kyrie's back for the entire year.
The teams I think are more championship ready than the Lakers today. And this is including injuries and ACLs and Achilles and all the things. Today, off the top of my head, the Rockets, the Cavaliers, I think, are closer to a title than the Lakers are. The Knicks are closer to a title than the Lakers are right now. The Magic are closer to a title than the Lakers are right now. The Timberwolves with the Turner edition, even with the loss of Dame, and I don't think that they're that good, but the Timberwolves are closer. The Nuggets with Nikola Jokic are closer. I don't know if the Celtics without Jason Tatum are, but I would say they might be. Controversial one. I think San Antonio is closer to a championship right now than the Lakers are. Dallas is close. Dallas, even though I don't believe in Dallas and what they're doing, is closer to a championship. I could be talked into saying the Clippers are closer to a championship than the Lakers are today. Hot take, I've got the Pistons to win the East next year. I think Detroit's closer to a championship. Granted, it's because they're playing out of the East, not in the West. I think the Pistons are. And that's probably my list. But that's 9 teams, I think, today are closer to a title than the Lakers are. And I agree that your point about everywhere he's gone, he's won a title is correct. But I'm also standing on, but they're not a championship threat today. Granted, we're talking about 40, soon to be 41-year-old LeBron. But they're just not. And the reason that all of this is a conversation is because LeBron signed his player option. What else have the Lakers done so far in this offseason? Nothing.
They got that.
Nothing.
They got that one dude.
They got that one dude.
All I can think of is white dude, but they got that white dude.
A less talented Austin Reeves comes over from Sacramento. A 7th man. They got a 6th man, now they got a 7th man. That's your move? That's your move.
So,
All right.
Wow, that's 2. So they're done? They're finished?
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
I hope not. But they're not sitting on a ton of resources right now to make any more moves. And more importantly, the Lakers are a team, one of the few teams that cannot move in silence. There's too much light on them for them to move in silence. And there is zero report of them making any calls right now. None. I'm not saying they're
That's
not.
a good phrase, by the way. Too much light on them.
I mean, it's Hollywood.
Yeah, it's also no. I've never heard you say that before.
They,
I hope you just made it up because I think that's cool.
I mean, I make up most everything I do. I don't see the Lakers as a contender next year. And if I do not see the Lakers as a contender next year, I absolutely could see LeBron James testing the market. I'm not saying he will get traded. And again, the whole point here.
This seems like a story so people can say, see, nobody wants LeBron. That's what this story is all about. To prove that nobody wants LeBron.
I think it's
more.
more.
And is that interesting to some people? Yeah, certain people, nobody wants LeBron. But in the end, it can't be proven because the Lakers haven't said LeBron is being traded. They haven't said that. So we don't know if anyone really has interest or not. We got the weird guy on ESPN, not my words, LeBron's words, the weird guy on ESPN saying that all these people have no interest, but he's got a vendetta now. And don't think you know how that is. He's gonna try to go against LeBron now because LeBron said that.
Nah, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
He's the type for sure.
No, I don't. First off, you don't know. You do not know that.
As a grudge guy, I recognize grudge guys.
You don't know that.
All right, you're not a grudge guy, so you don't get it. But that's fine. As you know,
we don't need to go down the path of speculating on the mentality of winning.
You're right. You're right. We don't need to, but we can go down the speculation of LeBron is going to be traded.
I think that again, the thought is not. I have said nothing about that. The thought is not LeBron's going to get traded. The thought is if the Lakers are ready to move on from LeBron because it's a $51 million deal for a 41-year-old player and they can't add anybody else around him, which means that this team is not a championship team. And on top of that, he signs the 1-year deal. And the only thing that happened was that his agent came out and made, I don't want to say threats, but like some pretty blunt statements at the Lakers. No celebration, no Instagram Live, no, not even like a Canva post. Not even like a dirty little graphic that says, I'm back. Like nothing. All they got was effectively a threat from LeBron. It makes sense to me that the Lakers would be looking at this and going, like I said, it's that kind of that spot where you're at the end of a relationship and you know it's coming to an end and they know it's coming to the end, but neither of you wants to be the one that goes, this is the end. So you just kind of exist in the same sphere, right? You're not talking to each other in the house. You're walking down the hallway. They're walking down the hallway. You both turn and you walk past each other back to back so you don't accidentally touch each other, right? It's that point. That's what the vibe is right now. It feels like it's two people, two groups, two entities cohabitating because neither one of them wants to be the one that goes, the end of this relationship is here and it is your fault. It's you, not me, because whoever blinks first is going to be that. I think LeBron is very conscientious about his image. I think the Lakers recognize that they're getting nothing back for him because nobody wants a $50 million+ 1-year deal, except the Thunder who signed Shea, and we're going to come to that here in a minute. But yeah, I again as a Bron guy am mildly uncomfortable watching this play out. All right, here's what we're going to do because that conversation was a good one, frankly, in my opinion. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to do then what we were supposed to do now. But hey, this conversation was important. Water Cooler Cheat Sheet, top 3 sports stories you need to know. Coming up next, we will wrap up this hour, honestly, with like 3 different stories that I find very interesting, including SGA turning into SG paid. That's coming up on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
3 friends.
All right, guys, quick live, and we're back. Stay right there for me, please, and thank you. 7:20, we're a little bit behind, but that's okay because we were having, I thought, a very interesting conversation as the NBA free agency period rolls on. There were, shockingly, I know, and are, other NBA players and teams. That's going to be an item on what we're about to do, which is tell you the three most important stories in the world of sports this morning. We are going to do this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the three top stories that will have your coworkers saying,
"Shut the hell up,"
even before they take their first bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
It is the water cooler cheat sheet, the top three sports stories you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports this morning. When you do this is what you'll be talking about. Let's dive right in with item numero uno. We have, shockingly, I know, talked about the LeBron James situation with the Lakers, but we have also mentioned the fact that there is a lot more going on right now as the NBA free agency period day number 2 went down yesterday. Some of the bigger moves that happened. We'll start with the Charlotte Hornets. They have signed Trey Mann back to the roster on a 3-year, $24 million deal. Trey was with the Buzz last year, but when free agency opened, the Hornets decided not to tender his contract. It did make him a free agent, and he could have signed anywhere, but the Buzz just wanted to counter, and they did. 3 years, $24 million for Trey Mann to return, probably in more of a backup role next year. We will find out. Duncan Robinson has left Miami, signs a 3-year, $48 million deal with the Pistons, who are trading Simone Fontecchio to the Miami Heat to acquire Robinson in a sign and trade deal. Tim Hardaway Jr., a 1-year deal with the Denver Nuggets, gives them a little much-needed guard depth out there in the Mile High City. Jacob Poeltl has agreed to stay with Toronto on a 4-year, $104 million contract extension. He will also add a player option at 26-27 at $19.5 million, adds 3 years to his deal. Jericho Sims agrees to a 2-year deal with the Milwaukee Bucks, so they had 2 centers yesterday because Myles Turner also signed with the Bucks. Dennis Schroeder has agreed to a 3-year, $45 million deal with the Sacramento Kings. The Bucks have sent Pat Connaughton and 2 of their own second-round picks to Charlotte for Vasily Micic, according to the Shams Wow that dropped yesterday afternoon. So Pat Connaughton, who has kind of been a very important piece for the Bucks around Giannis and Dame for the last couple of years, is now a Charlotte Hornet. I actually like this because they also get those 2 second-round picks in 2031 and 2032 back into the war chest moving forward. They get a guy who can kind of play either of the 2 guard spots or a shooting forward spot if they need to. One of the things I talked about was I think the Hornets are now at depth building mode, and Pat Connaughton gives them an opportunity to do that. Jonas Valanciunas has been sent from the Kings to the Nuggets for Dario Saric, according to Shams yesterday. We mentioned that Damian Lillard has been waived by the Bucks. The money that they are saving on that contract will be used to acquire Myles Turner. Turner, it became a free agent 10 days ago now, after the Indiana Pacers finished up second place in the NBA Finals. Thought Myles Turner was going to be a career Pacer, but he is on his way out. And the biggest story of all, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has agreed to a 4-year Supermax extension with the Thunder, valued at $285 million. That makes SGA the highest paid annual per year player in NBA history. His annual value checks in around $70+ million. That is an enormous amount of money. I believe it also makes SGA the highest annually paid average player of any player across the United States Big Four after the deal he signed yesterday. What is more interesting is that although we have not seen the full details of the deal, all of any added bonuses, incentives, etc., the speculation is that if SGA was to hit every bonus and incentive in this Supermax contract's extension, even though it is not guaranteed, so it will not be listed that way. This contract is right now in NBA circles rumored to have enough extensions, have enough bonuses, have enough what do they call them? Milestones, whatever, achievements, whatever, bonuses, whatever. It's got enough of those wrapped in it that if SGA was to hit all of them over the 4-year extension, this contract could be worth over $1 billion when it's all said and done. He's not going to be labeled as America's first billion-dollar athlete because it is all incentives. That's the word I'm looking for. It is heavily wrapped up in incentives for him to get there. But the rumor is, for the life of the contract through 2031, this could ultimately, if he does everything that is in it, which would include multiple championships, MVPs, all NBA teams, etc., this deal could ultimately pay SGA north of $1 billion when it's all said and done. So we'll keep an eye on that one for you as it rolls on. But let's get to item number 2. I'm not going to say that this is the last time that this team is going to make it to the water cooler cheat sheet. I am saying this team is going to make it to the water cooler cheat sheet far less frequently than they have. Ladies and gentlemen, let's mark it down. It is official. The Atlanta Braves are just a bad baseball team. This is no longer a team that I am willing to label as sparky. This is no longer a team that I am willing to label as lying in wait. This is no longer a team that I am willing to label as missing pieces or too banged up or yada, yada, yada. They're just a bad baseball team. When Ronald Acuna Jr. made his way back to the Bravos, when Ronnie went SWAT in 3 of his first 4 games, Ronald Acuna Jr. felt like maybe there's your piece. Maybe that's your spot. Maybe that's the guy that you have needed to put a little oomph into this lineup, to get the boys excited about playing baseball again. Ronald Acuna Jr. is now 3 for his last 22 at-bats yesterday in a game that they just needed something. Ronald Acuna Jr. went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. 0 for 4, 4 Ks, no walks, no hits. The Braves had runners in scoring position 7 times. They left 9 runners stranded in a game they lost 4-0. I'm going to take the time. I don't know if it'll be today. I don't know if I'll probably let him finish the series with the Angels because I want to see how it shapes out. But yesterday on You Bet on the BetMGM network, I floated that I am going to look back at every Braves game so far this year. They are 38-46, 23-18 at the crib. And I would like to find every game where a starting pitcher went 5 innings or more, gave up 2 runs or fewer, and was either tagged with the loss or the Braves just lost. And I'm going to name that stat. Now, I'm going to name it after a not Brave. I'm going to name it the Paul Skeens stat because Paul Skeens is out there doing this pretty much every outing with the Pirates. But I think there should be a stat for pitchers who go 5 or more innings, give up 2 or fewer runs, and still see their team lose the game. Grant Holmes went 6 innings, gave up 3 hits, 3 walks, struck out 10, 0 runs allowed. After 6 innings, Grant Holmes had yet another holy crap, what a performance. Is this a career performance type performance? Felt like they were in a real good spot. And then Dylan Lee came out and gave up 3 runs and 2 hits and recorded 1 out. And then De Los Santos checked in to finish that inning, gave up 2 hits and 1 run and a walk to record 2 outs. This team's bad. There's no more dancing around it. There's no tiptoeing around the truth. There's no more, if you change the manager, if you change the pitching coach, the hitting coach. And by the way, I think they should change the manager. I understand he's been in that program for 41 years now. But hey, this isn't good enough. You definitely have to change your hitting coach. Your current hitting coach, your old hitting coach from the last couple of years went out to Seattle. Seattle has seen about a 200% uptick since he got there. The new pitching coach has turned Ronald Acuna Jr. into a guy that went 3 dongs and 6 at bats when he came back from injury to a guy who went 0 for 4 before strikeouts yesterday. And Ronnie's always been a high strikeout guy, but he's also been a guy that mashes. So you put up with the strikeouts because you know he's got just as good of a chance to send one into another county. 0 for 4 case. This is not a team in waiting. This is not a team waiting on the spark. This is not a team waiting for everybody to get healthy. This is not a team that has any sort of divisional comeback in it. It's just a bad baseball team. And I realized that last night when I checked into this game. And I saw Brian Schnicker on the bench, lean back, arms crossed, not looking at a sheet, not looking at a rundown, not looking at the tablet, nothing. Cutting into his Betty by nap time last night. And then I knew that I was done when this game ended. And my reaction was not to text my Braves buddies and go, hey guys, tell me what you saw that was good so that I can have some hope. Nope. My reaction was, yeah, that checks out. Put the phone down, hang out with the wife, and not watch another pitch of baseball last night. The Braves ruined baseball for me last night. That's how bad it was. There is no more optimism. There is more hang in there. There is no more, they'll get it right. No. This team's bad, and this team is done. And that's just all there is to it. Item number 3. Bounced around a couple of different spots on this one, but I think this one catches it. I think it makes it. The Indiana Fever have won the WNBA's Commissioner Cup. They were 10.5-point underdogs entering that game without Caitlin Clark against the Minnesota Lynx. They were on the road at Minnesota. They punk the Lynx last night, 74-59, to take home the league's in-season championship. They did it with Clark, last year's Rookie of the Year, sidelined for a 3rd consecutive game because of a groin injury. She was kind of acting as a bench coach out there, but they needed Aaliyah Boston to step up and be that vocal leader. She absolutely was. It got a little chippy down the line with Nafisa Collier, who, of course, just a couple of days earlier was named one of the 2 captains for the WNBA All-Star Game. Aaliyah Boston finished the night with 12 points, 11 boards, 6 assists, 2 steals, and a block. Natasha Howard led the Fever with 16 points. Sophie Cunningham dimed in 13 and 7 boards coming off of the bench. Nobody for the Lynx scored more than 15. That was Alana Smith. They shot poorly from the field, 35%, 25% from behind the arc, where the Fever went 43% and 42% from deep. They were also a perfect 12 of 12 from the stripe. This Fever team's good, man. This Fever's team's good. I was worried about what the chemistry was going to look like with Caitlin Clark on the bench for an extended period of time. The answer is, even though they're not as talented out there, they 100,000% have developed a great chemistry. This is a championship caliber squad. Let's take a break. We're back after this. Rob Alonzo and you. The Rob Brown Show is on the Fan Upstate.
If he hangs on, Kevin.
Okay. Be right back. got some stuff I want to cover here, but before we get there, my man Kevin, kind enough to hang through the break. He's up next on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, big dog. What's up, Kev?
What's happening, my man?
Not much, brother. Just working.
I feel you on that. Hey, man, before I get on these Houston Rockets and what they about to buy a championship. Last few days ago, something like that, I heard you talking about beating up somebody, man. And, you little Rob now, man. When you was big Rob, when you was about 260, I think me and you could go to the alley and do some work. But now you down about 183 pounds now, man. I think we might have to talk our way through this situation now, man.
Kev, I first off, I appreciate that. I'm at 203 and a half now.
He looks
on it.
He looks breakable, Kevin. I don't know. You probably don't want him with you.
I'm working. I'll be 200 by the end of the weekend. That's the goal, Kev. But I'm gonna say this: your boy's been. I've never been in a fight, like a fist fight. All right, never been punched in the face. I'd like to keep that streak intact as long as possible. And on top of that, I've heard once you hit this 40 range, you don't bounce back from the shots like you did back in the day. But your boy did step in the ring a couple times with Roy Jones Jr., and he taught me a thing or two. So I'm just saying, I feel like even at 6'3", 200, I'm gonna catch a dude by surprise.
Hey, man, as long as you catch the fade in the chin a couple of times and lay him down, you might have a one-hitter quitter, man.
Hey.
So if your one-hitter quitter is working, and then I come through with the swan kick, I believe we're working on it.
Okay, Daniel, son, let's talk about the Rockets.
Yeah, hey, man, are these boys trying to buy a chip? Have you seen all these people?
Yeah.
Like Clint Capella, KD, they got them coming, man. Steven Adams signed back. Then they got listen, Houston is going to be on it. I don't know. And then you look at the Lakers. Yeah, we get some guy. I don't know who he is. They'd have been better off signing me. Just put me on. You signing anybody, just put me on the team. I don't know. Just let me. I don't know. It's looking bad already. LeBron's probably not going to be there unless he's going to do something different. When he get into this drama that he like to get into, he get on my nerves. I'm starting to feel like LeBron, like I feel about Aaron Rodgers. That's what I'm starting to do.
A lot of people are, Kev. I don't disagree with that. Now, I'll break down both those spots, and I'll start with the Rockets. I do want to point out that the Rockets got like 17 centers on this roster now. They're not done. They're not done. And I do wonder if they maybe make a play for Dame, although he's a free agent, so you're going to have to trade. You'd just be adding. I don't know if they package two of those big men together and send them somewhere to go find another point guard to add. I don't know what the play is. I don't think Houston is done. I like Clint Capella. I like Steven Adams. I like the guys that are there. And they got Sengun, who's playing better towards the end of the year. I love Amen Thompson. Right. I think that kid's going to be a star for a very long time. And you add KD to be your slash guy. I like what they built. I'm also going to say I don't think they're done building. As far as your team goes, as far as the Lakers go, and we were talking about them earlier in the show, Kev, I agree with you on LeBron, but I'm also going to make a point that he ain't wrong. Y'all have not built it. Your team is not a championship contender right now. The way it's built today on July 2nd, it is not a championship contender right now. And if I'm Bron at 40, working my way to 41, want another chip on the way out, want to at least tie Kobe to be in that conversation, and then I look, and while all these other teams that are contenders, Houston, Oklahoma City, are making moves to add to their roster, you went and got me a less talented Austin Reeves to play behind Austin Reeves, who is now a starter. Honestly, I don't think LeBron is wrong for being upset with the Lakers offseason this season. I don't think he's wrong for it.
He's not wrong, but at the same time, he's a hypocrite, and it's his fault that we don't have who we need. It's his fault. I put it on. If he got to say so in everything that goes down, what's my guy's name that just won a chip with OKC?
Alex Caruso
with us in 2020.
Caruso, and then you got my other dude, Pope. Yeah, Kentavious Caldwell. Yeah,
got him. You let them go. That's two defensive guys right there. You sign them to some money. You keep them. So LeBron has had this thing since he's been in the league. Oh, I'm going to the chip. You just put people around me that's going to do this and that's going to do that. Then in the last 3 or 4 years with the Lakers, we have not picked up nobody. Everybody that we try to get, we end up not getting. Like the thing, like back when Kobe was there, when we should have had Chris Paul and Dwight Howard in their primes. why that didn't go through. Like the Lakers, I'm glad they sold. Like, it's time for them to get out there, start over, and let's get some running back out there on that floor.
Kev, appreciate you, big dog. Good to talk to you. Thanks for checking in. Do it more often, my man. Yeah, like I said, I don't think LeBron's wrong for feeling the way he feels. If you want to blame it on him and say that Le GM is part of the problem and part of the reason that they are in this position, honestly, I'm okay with that. Like I'm good with that. I think it's fair to say that. But I would also point out that when you are talking about the contract that he has signed, yeah, it's a year, yeah, it's $51 million, yeah, it cuts in a little bit, but you signed one of the best three, one of the best three basketball players of all time. You have to pay for that. You have to have that strategy. And when the Lakers just sold for $10.1 billion, I fully expect that their new ownership, because not only did they sell for $10.1 billion, which, by the way, was $2 billion over the estimated valuation of that team, but remember, the guy who bought it is the guy who owns the Dodgers. What's the conversation been about the Dodgers the last couple of years? That they are spending an unfair amount of money to run Major League Baseball. You want to talk about buying a championship or championships or buying a dynasty? That's the Dodgers right now. They have $1 billion in deferred payroll on the books. Over the next 20 years, they owe players $1 billion. So I do not think in a league that it doesn't have a hard cap. Yeah, they got a salary tax, and then we got to start talking about, first and second aprons and exemptions and all that. While all of that is part of the equation, I don't think it's unfair for LeBron to look and go, I get $51 million a year because I'm LeBron James. I sell you $51 million a year in merch by being me. When I go on tour, $51 million a year in tickets, just on me. I expect you to dig down and get some guys. And even if you don't, how many guys out there that we have seen move teams over the past couple of days that could contribute aren't Lakers? Because the reports are the Lakers aren't even working the phones right now. They're just hanging out. They're going, and that is the reason that I've said I'm getting the impression the Lakers are just holding pat, which makes me feel like they are just going to wait out. For the record, this is not me bagging on LeBron. This is me bagging on the Lakers because they should be making moves and they're not. It makes me feel like they plan on just waiting out LeBron, whether it is finding somebody to make a trade with, not buying him out, finding someone to make a trade with, or, hey, we're just going to stink next year. And then LeBron's contract comes off the books, and he's gone, and we hopefully can talk Luka Doncic into staying, and then we go find guys to build around Luka. Because that's the other element of this is if you build around LeBron, that is not the same team you build around Luka Doncic. If you build around LeBron, you are going to have to build again around Luka. And the more I think about that, the more it makes me wonder, are the Lakers basically just waiting out LeBron James so that, because remember, when Luka came over in that trade, the whole premise was Bron hands the throne to Luka on the way out the door. And if that is the case, I'm going to have to rebuild again.
I don't understand. So if you rebuild for Luka, LeBron can't thrive in that.
No, but you're not building around LeBron. LeBron is going to have to adapt his game to that team as opposed to what you should do with a star of his quality, which is build the team to him like SGA.
So if they do build around Luka, LeBron will have a problem with that. He can't play within that system because that's how you're making it sound. And I think he can adapt to whatever he needs to adapt to.
I don't think you're going to get the best out of him by asking that. And the key here
is, are you going to get the best out of a 41-year-old?
You like to. We're not going to pretend like LeBron James isn't an all-pro, all-star, right? And if you're going to keep that guy in the mix and you're going to make it about him, then listen, I think the Lakers' plan 1,000% should be, look, Bron, glad you're here. We love you, dog. We're building around Luka now, and we want you to fit into that. But we also know that whether it's fair or not, whether it's good or not, whether it's being a good competitor, good teammate, bad competitor, bad teammate, I don't know.
So even though Jeanie Buss is still in control, kind of. We don't know how these owners are going to do. This is a new owner, right? We don't know what they're going to do. We can't look back on history because the Bus family has owned this team for so long. This is brand new territory. I think it's easy to go, well, this is how they've done things, but we don't know how this new regime is going to do
I don't
things.
disagree. Here's the problem. We're 2 days into, you got to be doing some stuff.
2 days.
Yes.
Just 2 days.
Yes. Name me the free agents that are left.
How long is free agency?
No, it's open. Name me the guys
I
that
know,
aren't signed.
but I mean, how long does it last?
Till the season starts. You can sign anybody you want the rest of the ride.
You got plenty of time.
To get who? To get who? Right? Like, here's the thing. It's not just to get who.
How far away were they from winning the championship this year?
They were not anywhere close to it. They got bounced in the first round in a sweep or a gentleman's sweep.
They were
okay. Great. So were the.
And by the way, they were projected to win that series.
And then what happened?
They didn't, but they were projected to win that series. So if you're a team owner, you may look at it and go, "We're not that far away. We were right there."
Yeah, except for the guys that were the role players that helped you get there, with the exception of Reeves and Hachimura, they're gone. Like the guys that carried when LeBron was taking a breather, when Luka was taking a breather, they're gone. Here's your starting five for them right now: Luka, LeBron, Austin Reeves, a sixth man, Rory Hachimura, who's like close to being good, but he ain't good.
Wow, that's three. Hachimura is good.
When LeBron's out there with him. When LeBron's out there, his scoring average falls off a cliff if LeBron's not out there eating up the defense.
How much did LeBron not play last year? I mean, he played a bunch still.
He's okay.
I know you're talking about age, but I wonder.
Cool. All right. Well, then let's
minutes wise. I wonder where he ranks with the rest of the NBA.
Wait, hang on. So let's talk about what you brought up there a second ago. I said you're 2 days into the free agency period. The Bucks are making move. The Thunder's making move. The Pistons are making move. The Hawks are making move. The Magic are making move. All these contenders.
Can you only trade free agents?
Let me.
No,
finish.
I'm asking a legitimate question.
Okay, no, I'm coming to that. Let me finish. All these teams that are contenders are making moves. They are snapping up the free agents that are out there. You are now entered into territory. Yes, just 2 days in, where trades are all you have left. Who are you trading? Doncic, Reeves, Hachimura, James, Kleber, Vincent, Goodwin, Laravia, whatever the kid is you got for saying, and Jared Vanderbilt.
All right,
who's the piece that gets you a star?
You're trading draft picks.
You don't have any. You've traded them all. The Lakers don't have them. This is the point that I'm making. You don't have resources. Not only did you not sign free agents, but you don't have anybody to trade, and you don't have draft picks enough moving forward. You have created a mud pit and then dove into it. If you are LA, you're in quicksand.
If you're into mud wrestling, though, I mean,
there's no moves to be made. You do not have trade capital. You do not have draft capital to. I mean, I guess if like a team's willing to take your 2035 draft pick, but like no, I want a faster turnaround than that. There is, in my opinion, like I could trade Dalton Connect. I guess they tried to do that last year for Mark Williams and it didn't work out. But is Dalton Connect?
They did trade him. Is just the Mark Williams didn't pass the physical.
Yeah, it didn't work out. So. I mean, I got a Dalton Connect, Shake Milton.
What I'm saying is they successfely traded him. The trade was voided because of the trade partner.
You understand what I'm saying.
So he's still – I'm not. He is tradable is what I'm saying. Someone wanted him.
I just said that. You can trade Dalton Connect. You can trade Jared Vanderbilt.
And still, most people were saying, or a lot of people were saying, last year they were a big man away from having a shot at winning the championship.
After seeing, I said that going into the playoffs, not after they got bounced.
Okay, well,
Mark Williams didn't change that.
You changed your mind pretty quick.
Yes,
man.
that's what happens when the games get played.
Okay, all right. So it has nothing to do with national narrative or anything. It just has to do with you change your mind.
Yes, you know me. I'm a big victim of the national narrative.
Hey, I fall for it all the time. You may have got your ring back yesterday. You could have. You got your media ring back, and then you got to jump back on it because we spent a lot of time talking about the Lakers.
This team,
Dallas next hour.
This team is not good. Right now, today, this team's not good. And the problem I have is not just that they're not good, but you either needed to be building for one more ride with LeBron, or you need to be building for Luka Doncic in the future. And the problem is you've done neither. You've sat pat. You've spent no money. You got no free agents. You got very, very little. And even those pieces that you do have to trade are your reserve bench guys that are important pieces, but bench guys. So even if you're going to go get a guy that plays well in the starting five with Luka or with LeBron, you have to give away your bench depth to do it. So you better hope your starting five runs everybody by 20 in the first quarter. Because if you're going to make moves, it's going to be like, we'll give you Dalton Knecht, Jared Vanderbilt, and Shake Milton to go get one guy to be in the starting five. Cool. When those guys got to go get a breather, who am I now trotting out there to take it over? Christian Coloco?
Is there no one on team that's in the G League right now that can come up and compete? Or
Hell it's brawny time.
Okay, it could be. Or is the G League just useless? It's not there to develop. It's just there.
I mean, I don't think any of us at this point look at the G League and go, there's the future.
Then why is it there?
Developmental purposes for bench guys.
Okay.
Bench guys.
Okay, so you get a center from somewhere, which is still a possibility, and then you bring up some guys from the G League.
Here's the point that I'm going to make, and then we got to run to a break.
Breakout year for Bronny James next year.
Honestly, I hope you're right. Like, I'm Team Bronny for his sake because I think he caught an unnecessary amount of crap. But here's the point that I'm going to make. What I'm going to say is I've given you a list of problems for the Lakers going into next year. And the response that you've given me is, well, like they got to have a G League guy, right? That's not what you do at this level.
By the way, I'm legitimately asking you a question what the G League is for if it's not to develop players and bring, like the minor leagues for baseball. Guys develop, they bring them up. They call them up, right? Isn't that what the G League's supposed to be?
But let's also say, and this is something we've talked about with minor league all the time, the number of guys who spend time developing in the minors and then show up and then become stars, it's not deep. You're calling up role guys. And if a guy's a role guy and I'm going to get rid of Dalton Knecht, no, I don't think there's anybody in the Lakers G League program better than Dalton Knecht. Why? Because if they were, they'd be on the Lakers. Right? This is consider it your emergency slush fund of players. That's what it is. All right, let's run to a break. You know what? I have one more NBA story for the rest of the ride. We got to talk about SGA. That's it. We'll get away. No more Lakers talk on the show. Rob Brown Lonzo, Sports Flash, now.
Thank goodness we don't have any Laker stories on here. We do have Atlanta Braves, though. And they were shut out at home again last night, dropping a 4-0 result to the Angels. Grant Holmes threw 6 shutout innings, striking out 10, but Dylan Lee was tagged for 3 runs while recording just 1 out. The Indiana Fever won the WNBA Commissioner's Cup with a 74-59 win over Minnesota last night, despite not having Caitlin Clark due to an injury. Former Gamecock Aaliyah Boston had 12 points with 11 boards and 6 assists. Coco Gauff was bounced in the opening round at Wimbledon yesterday, becoming just the 3rd woman to do so right after claiming the French Open. The world number 2 ranked Gauff dropped to unseeded Diana Yastremska on the number 1 court. World number 3 and fellow American Jessica Pegula was also bounced. Our number 3 of the Rob Brown Show is next, right here on Fan Upstate. All right, I've given my 15%. I'm done for the day. I'm just gonna push buttons. I'll go home, have a bout of depression, which is happening a lot lately, and wonder why I'm so mean, which I've mentioned many times here. Maybe I'm not mean. Maybe I just have a difference of opinion. Maybe I'm actually doing my job. I don't know. Good morning, Michael. And Keegan, no, I haven't. I wonder if when you're retired and you're sitting on your porch, rocking, talking to the squirrels, do you lament? Do you look back and say, if I hadn't said that on that day, or why did I do that on that day? I'm not even sure I like rocking chairs that much. I do like talking to the squirrels, though. If anything, though, Rob's getting his cardio because I've got him so upset he keeps forgetting stuff. So his cardio is kicking right now.
Steps in.
Should do a couple rounds around the square out there. See if anyone asks you why you're making rounds around the square.
I actually used to do that. I kept passing the Hawk and Tom guys, and they were just like, look.
Because you look so angry?
Maybe.
All you have to do is say my name, and they'll just nod. Although they love me, because, I mean, you know. Hey, do you know we're off Friday?
Sure did. I heard that earlier today.
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob Brown, the great one Lonzo with you here on a Wednesday a.m. It is 8 o'clock in the morning, which means it is time for the Audio Blitz. Some of the best audio that we have picked up over the past 24 hours. I am going to start with the same young man that we started with yesterday, though it is a different clip. Cal Raleigh is the catcher for the Seattle Mariners. Yesterday, we played you a clip from the Pardon My Take podcast where the fellas asked Cal Raleigh, have you ever farted on an umpire? And Cal's answer was effectively, yeah, it's not intentional except when it is. You try not to do it too much, but like, you know, you're squatting down. It's going to happen. You're going to bend, you're going to twist a little bit. One's going to sneak up out of there. Well, part of the reason that is absolutely hilarious is because of Cal Raleigh's nickname that has caught on. Cal Raleigh's nickname is, and no, I am not joking, they call him this on every highlight show. He is the Big Dumper. That's his nickname. Cal Raleigh was asked that question. And of course, no, it's on me. That wasn't playing. So let's move it over to this other piece of software and make sure we have everything set up because once again, your morning show buddy, Rob Brown, is a big idiot. Cal Raleigh, why do they call you the Big Dumper?
Okay, but you got a great nickname.
I think it's, one of the better ones. So
who gave you that nickname?
So Jared Kelenic, we came up through the minors. He played with us for a couple years with the Braves now. He tweeted it out as soon as I debuted, and I think people thought it was really funny at first, and then
wait. But what leads him to call you the Big Dumper?
So I have a big butt, and it's kind of been a running thing since I've been in high school. It's just kind of been. It's like, wow, he just just kind of sticks out. Like that guy's got a really big butt, and he was always commenting on it in the minor leagues, and then get called up, and that happens. Didn't really play well, and then started playing well, and people just kind of like took off with it. They loved it. They thought it was really funny, and Seattle's kind of made it their kind of thing. So
the big dumper. Do you even squat, bro?
Okay, so the whole time you've been calling him that, I thought it was for something totally different.
Nope, it's because he's got a big ass.
So I thought it had something to do with restroom ability, and it just has to do with anatomy. Okay.
Literally just has a big butt.
Okay, all right.
You know, I got to tell you though, I think I would take a point in pride if between my immaculate genetics and my work ethic in the squat rack that I had created an ass that even the bros were like, nice. Like I'd take great pride in that. I got to tell you, I heard that clip yesterday. And I was like, dude, I should start doing squats. I should start doing squats because he's the big dumper and I'm the big saggy. And I respect that for my guy. All right. This clip, let's go with this one. Keith Hernandez and the boys on the SNY network up in New York, they call Mets games. They had their sideline reporter. They went down live because the Mets were at a game and they were down 1, and there was a conversation that was going on about the philosophy of the Mets in situations like that, a philosophy that Carlos Mendoza had shared with the team that they have kind of leaned on. And it turned into one of those things, you know, sometimes y'all get on us because it's like, oh, Rob Alonso, y'all go after each other now and then. Because it's fun. They did it too.
If a storm is coming, instead of running away from the storm, Buffalo come together as a herd and charge directly into the storm so that they can get through it quicker rather than running away and hiding and staying underneath it. And Mendoza pulled the team aside a couple of days ago and he just said, hey guys, this is what we talked about. We expected this to happen. It was going to happen. Now we stick together. We have that Buffalo mentality and we get through this storm as quickly as we can.
Well, Steve, my understanding is the Buffalo got slaughtered because when they got shot from long range, they didn't stampede or run away. They just froze. They were easy targets.
Yeah, I think that was the point of the whole story. Thanks for the coda.
Oh, thanks for the backup, Keith. Gilbsy always there to help you along.
Foul backing out of play.
Sad for the Buffalo because of course, well, in his parable, he doesn't make it bode really well for the Mets to climb their way out of this.
Well, no, that didn't mean it that way. I was just being factual. Nothing to do with the Mets.
Just a little history lesson from Professor Hernandez.
But it's true.
It's very easy. It's very easy.
They get shot and they wouldn't.
All right, Keith, I'm taking off. Thanks for the time tonight.
Steve, maybe you can have a bison burger for lunch tonight.
Oh. Gosh. They were easy.
So, my man Steve, the sideline reporter, is sharing this lovely little story about the philosophy of the Mets. Hey, man, like we've lost like 14 out of 18. Things are going bad, but we got to have that Buffalo mentality. When a thunderstorm rolls across the prairie, the Buffalo gather together and they charge as a herd into the storm so that they can come through the other side that much quicker and together. And Keith Hernandez is like, yeah, but also they got slaughtered, and they all died. So there's that.
I'm trying to think of who you are in that situation. I think you're slaughter guy.
No, it's definitely day to day. There are absolutely moments where I am, and I have been asked to not be by my wife and others, the well actually guy. I am very guilty of being, well, actually, guy, because I don't know about you. When I say a thing and it's incorrect, I want someone to correct me. I want to believe things that are true, but I have been told that not everybody appreciates being corrected when they say something factually incorrect. Here's the thing.
It's also the look and the tone.
What was being said there by Steve wasn't about Buffalo trying to not be slaughtered. It was about Buffalo's herding together and charging through the storm, a storm the Mets are currently in. A nice little analogy about keeping the good mentality there. And my man Keith's like, well, actually, they got massacred all the time. The analogy was about why people shouldn't give up on this baseball team And here's this animal that does this thing that's a good reason philosophically that you should be optimistic even if we're struggling right now. And the guy who works for that team is like, yeah, but all those animals died. So not the time, Keith. Not now.
Well, he's pointing out it's a bad analogy. So
no, it's not. It's a different thing.
Is it?
It's a different
Is
thing.
It though? I don't know.
It's like that scene at Mighty Ducks when they're losing the game and they come in, they're like, hey, what's your name? Dwayne, where are you from? Texas. What's your name? Charlie Conway. Where are you from? Los Angeles, California. And then they do the ducks fly together thing, and they're like, when the wind is blowing and the clouds are rolling in from the east, ducks fly together. It's that great. It's like that, but if somebody was like, when the rain is falling and the debris is thrown around and everybody goes, ducks fly together, and the one guy goes, do you know that male ducks will frequently kill female ducks when they're mating?
Or if
not the time, Conway.
If ducks fly into a hurricane, they die in mass.
Yes.
I mean,
not the time.
Or if a duck flies into an airplane engine, I mean, they're flying together.
You're literally doing what Keith is doing right now. Yeah. Not the time.
Yeah, I know.
I love that clip so much. You know what other clip I love? I've said this before. I like when pro athletes allow me to see myself in them. Now, in fairness, Miguel Angel Cabrera is now old enough to be on the PGA Champions Tour. That's the old guy's tour. He's going to pop up. He's going to play in the Masters, US Open, whatever.
So, I mean, you're kind of...
Yes, I know. Shut up. Nobody asked you. So, Miguel was playing last weekend in a senior tour event, had a real rough Saturday. A lot of bogeys, just did not go well, fell off the leaderboard. So he goes to do his post-round press conference, and a reporter says, hey, bro, how do you bounce back? And I realized that Miguel Angel Cabrera is a man of the people.
What do you need to go fix now before tomorrow?
No, I'm going to pick up now. I'm going to go to a nice restaurant. I'm going to have a nice bottle of wine, a beautiful big fat cigar, right? And enjoy myself. And then everything happens tomorrow. Whatever happens. Yeah.
He said, what do you have to go do to fix yourself? What do you have to go do to get right? And my man said, what do you mean? I'm going to leave here. I'm going to go to a nice restaurant. I'm going to pop open a bottle of wine. I'm going to smoke a cigar. And whatever happens tomorrow happens. Since my dude on the PGA Tour said I popped 3 Red Bulls in the morning and a Tylenol PM in the afternoon, I've never related to an athlete more.
All right, did you read the transcript? Because I did. It sounded like to me he said he was going to Hawaii.
Nope.
I couldn't understand.
He said I'm going to go.
Because the mic was distant. It had nothing to do with his accent.
He said I'm going to go to a nice restaurant. I'm going to open an expensive bottle of wine. I'm going to smoke a nice cigar. And whatever happens tomorrow, happens tomorrow. Hell yeah, Miguel. That's my answer to, like, everything. Hey, your car blew up today and got a flat tire and you got this, that, and the other, and you got to do this and you got to do that. What are you going to do? I'm going to go home, drink a bunch of bourbon, smoke a cigar, go to bed, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. Let's see where we go. Earl Watson is an old NBA player. The best content on the internet right now, in my opinion, is old basketball players telling old basketball stories. And when I say old, I'm talking about dating back to the 80s, 90s, whatever. Old basketball players telling old basketball stories. I don't know why it makes me laugh so much. Earl Watson played with Gary Payton back in the day, and he had a story about John Stockton.
I've never heard GP say anything good about any point guard ever in my life. John Stockton, right? He goes, hey, this boy right here, cold white boy. You don't take this for granted. You hear me? When you face him, it's Mr. Stockton. So I'm picking him up full court, and Stock didn't have a lot to him, but he hit them angles quick, right? Boom, boom. And Stock ran his offense from inside college 3, because if you touched him, it was a foul. He is not about to walk me to the free throw line and run the play. So check this out, Doc. So I stand him up. We bounce off each other, and the ball go right past my face. I duck. I'm thinking it's a back door. No one's behind me. He threw the ball in my face. I looked back at him. He said, back the up.
John Stockton. Unassuming, small, white, quiet John Stockton just chucked the ball at Earl Watson's face and said, back the up. These stories that have been coming out on social media, like this is a whole genre of video on Instagram now. It's just people going, hey, you played Larry Legend. Tell me about that. And you get these incredible stories about like Larry Bird and the one-liners he would drop. There was a story the other day about Mike where he was He was in a conversation with an NFL wide receiver back in like the late 90s, and they were getting after it about who had more stuff, right? They were arguing about cars and watches and jewelry and this and that and the other. And Mike, deciding he was done with the conversation, said, "How many rings you got?" And he held up a hand with 3 championship rings on it. And the guy goes, "I ain't got no rings yet, but I'm the Michael Jordan of my sport." And the guy said, without missing a beat, Mike looked at him and said, "I am my sport." It's like, God, dog, the boys were cold back in the day. I don't think I'd have made it in that NBA just because the absolute bars that they dropped on each other were vicious. Hey, since I already feel bad enough about myself and my life and my career choices and yada, 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 the NHL draft was last weekend, and they asked some of the youths that were being drafted to place their birth date on a timeline. So those of us that maybe don't know a bunch about them could kind of get an idea of where they come from.
My name's James Higgins. I was born the same month PlayStation 3 came out.
I'm Porter Martone, and I was born 1 month before the Nintendo Wii came out.
My name is Matthew Schaefer, and I was born 2 months after the first Transformers came out.
My name is Michael Misa. I was born 3 months before Spider-Man 3 came out.
My name is Jake O'Brien, and I was born the same month the final episode of The Sopranos came out.
My name is Caleb Denoy, and I was born 1 month before Shrek 3 came out.
My name is Jackson Smith, and I was born 2 months before the last Harry Potter novel came out.
I was born 1 month after the Nintendo Wii. I purchased that with my money as an adult, a grown-up. I bought that with my own money. I drove myself to the store. I pulled out my credit card attached to my bank account. I swiped it and spent my own earned money at my job to buy that. My man said I was born 1 month before Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3 came out 26 years after the first Spider-Man of that trilogy. I was born 1 month before the final Harry Potter. I was too old for Harry Potter when the first Harry Potter came out. That hurt me as a person entirely. That just hurt a lot. And we got time for one more. Let's go with this one. And before I play this clip, Travis Kelce. Did I do the Mayo clip? I know we played it off the air. I don't think I played it yesterday. Okay. Travis Kelce, noted not a mayonnaise fan. And he got called out by a guy we affectionately refer to as Mr. Mayonnaise. Before I play the clip, I just need to know at the end of it, are you in or are you out?
Travis, you're not going to believe this. Will Levis has called you out on Instagram.
No. Why did he call me out? What did I do?
Will is a known Mayo advocate, and your Mayo hate, he is going to challenge you to eat your words, literally.
Challenge not accepted. I don't even know the challenge. If it has anything to do with Mayo, I'm out.
This is why Will is challenging you to try Hellman's Eat Your Words challenge. They're out here challenging Mayo haters to give their flavored Mayo a shot.
No, I've never said a single bad thing about Mayo.
Travis, are you kidding me?
I love it. I love Mayo. It's so good.
You're acting like this is regular mayo. This is totally different. This is spicy mayo. There's flavor to it. It's got an amazing smoky kick to it. This isn't regular mayonnaise. You like spicy aioli. Think of it like that. It's just spicy aioli.
All right, maybe I'll think about it.
You hear that, Will? That sounds like a small win for the 92%ers on a future episode. Travis might possibly, with a non-zero chance, eat mayonnaise. Stay tuned for if he does or does not accept, but he kind of does half-heartedly. You guys know what I'm saying.
Spicy Hellman's Mayo. In or out? I'm in. I'm all the way in.
I eat Hellman's mayonnaise on my sandwich every day, so putting a little kick to it probably would be a nice change pace.
I will say that Rob Brown's obviously a Dukes guy. Rob Brown is obviously always going to, there's always the Dukes in the Rob Brown household at Frigerator. That being said, I Dukes, when you're ready. I'm not exclusive as of right now. And if Hellman's is going to up the game by giving me a little pop to the mayo on my Black Forest ham sandwich in the afternoon, your boy's all in. If there's going to be a little pop to the mayo. By the way, I have fully adopted the using mayo to cook grilled cheese. Oh, I'm all in now. You guys have won me over on that. I will absolutely add a little kick to the grilled cheese Dukes, I'm willing to go exclusive. I'm ready to go steady when you are. But until, Dukes, you and I figure this thing out and we get that deal rolling, if Hellman's is going to up the game, 100% I'm going to give him a run. Now, basic bland, regular old white mayo, Dukes is it. It's tangy. It's creamy. It's the best. But if Hellman's is going to say, we're going to give you a little Creole, little Cajun, little pop in there, I'm going to give it a shot. Will it replace the Dukes? Maybe. I'm a big aioli guy. I get aioli with my fries. That's exclusive now. Ketchup's out. Spicy aioli's in. If Hellman's changes the mayo game, this could be very interesting. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. We got to talk some football because we're inside of 52 days away to the kickoff to college football. We're going to rank something because that's what you do for the next 2 weeks on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
I want to say, as a grown man, I don't appreciate you shooing me. And you've shooed me several times today.
No, this is a hand motion I just do.
You just shooed me.
That's not a shoe.
You shooed me.
It's not a shoe.
As a grown man.
It's not a shoe.
As a grown man, I am completely upset about you shooing me.
I don't shoe. I would never shoe because I'm not a Major League Baseball umpire.
I have spoken my 15% today. Done. That shoot too much.
Are you tossing yourself?
Yeah.
You ejecting yourself? Be right back, guys. I think he's joking. We'll find out.
seahorse doesn't look like that. It looks like a seahorse.
Is it the one with the legs crossed?
Oh, no, it's the blue thing. It's just showing the symbol, and its symbol's this big, dude. So to me, like I said, I just sent it to you. It looks like a seahorse.
No, that's Boise State.
Okay. Doesn't that look like a seahorse?
Yeah, I can see it. But I also have my glasses on. He's got LSU in, which I'm fine with. He's got Clemson in, but getting bounced by Georgia in round 2, which I'm fine with. That'd be a crap matchup for them to catch them in round 2. Dun, 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 dun.
So at what level do you have to be in the sports world where you can put that out and people go, oh, okay, yeah, he's just said that. I got to see it.
I mean, Brett McMurphy.
I did know who he was.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know.
It is the Rob Brown Show here on the Fan Upstate. Rob Brown, the Great Malonzo, and you. Brett McMurphy has put out his college football playoff 12-team projection. It goes as such, earning the number 1 overall seed and one of the 4 first-round buys. He has the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. A lot of people very high on the Irish this year. It is an interesting schedule for the Irish this year. They do have some borderline playoff teams on it. They've got at Miami to open on August 31st. They turn around the very next week and play Texas A&M at home. Arkansas on the road later in the year. Boise State is on this schedule, who we'll be talking about here in a moment. The Seahorses. That's it. They got Boise State on the schedule. They're at home for NC State. They're at home for USC. They also have, and again, I don't think it's going to be like it was last year when they were that much fun, but they do have Navy coming to the crib. They are at Pitt, Syracuse at Stanford to wrap it up. Notre Dame will either be a team that looks like a solid 1, 2, 3, 4 seed earlier in the year, or they will be fighting for their lives late based on how this schedule plays out. Brett McMurphy has at the 2 seed and earning a bye the Penn State Nittany Lions. I assume that means he has them winning the Big Ten this year. I'm just going to say about Penn State, if they don't get it done this year, and I don't know what it is. Depends on what your definition of the word it is. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it is win the Big Ten. I don't know if it is make it to the national championship. I don't know if it is win the national championship. I don't know what their objective reality is for this year. What I do know is whatever they decide it is, if they don't get it this year, I got to think James Franklin's on the last leg at this point. They got Drew Aller. Everybody seems to be in on Drew Aller. I'm just not there yet. Like, I think the kid's got talent, but to be labeling him as the reason that Penn State gets it done, they had Drew Aller last year, and Drew Aller was not it. So the dude would have to have one of the most remarkable, I think, one of the most remarkable seasons to talk me off the belief that he's a good quarterback, not a quarterback that you go like I'm not saying they're right, but like they're doing with Arch, right? Oh, Texas got Arch. They got a shot. I'm not there with Drew Aller. I think he's fine. I think they put a lot more talent around him this year. So I think if he doesn't get it done, not only will James Franklin have his back to the wall, Drew Aller could cost himself or make himself a lot of NFL money depending on his performance this year. Brett McMurphy has Georgia earning the 3 seed out of the Southeastern Conference. I assume he assumes that they are going to win that conference. He has got at the 4th seed, The Ohio State University, catching a bye in the first round. At the 4 seed, at the 5 seed, Texas, he's got at 6, Clemson. He's got at number 7, Alabama. Number 8, LSU. Number 9, LSU taking on Oregon. Number 10, Alabama, the 7th seed, taking on Miami in the opening round. At number 11, taking on number 6, Clemson, he's got the Utah Utes, Yana. And at the 12th seed, he's got Boise State, backdooring their way in as the top-ranked G5 football team in America. I don't know that I disagree with much more than the seedings. And when I say disagree, I'm not saying these are going to be my 12 teams in the playoffs when I fill out my bracket before the season starts. I'm saying that I'm going to have to dig to come up. Like, Boise State is the Group of 5 champion. I hope that one day I am wrong, and I hope it is a squad like a Boise State that proves it. I just think we maybe have passed the point where a G5 team is a legitimate national championship contender. Not in a playoff format, right? Not in a playoff format. It's just, for Boise State to win the Natty, they would have to beat Texas. They would have to beat Ohio State. And then they, in McMurphy's playoff bracket here, and then they would have to beat whoever makes it out of the group of LSU, Oregon, and Notre Dame. And then, by the way, they got to beat whoever comes out of the other bracket between Alabama, Miami, Clemson, Utah, Penn State, and Georgia. I don't know that the 12th seed really matters all that much. Unless there's like an undefeated Group of 5 and, they get into the 11th spot and a 2-loss, 3-loss SEC team, a 2-loss ACC team ends up backdooring into the 12th spot. I just don't know how much that is going to ultimately matter. I have questions about Notre Dame as the number 1 seed. I think that Notre Dame is going to be a better football team this year. I think now that Marcus Freeman has had another year to work the magic as far as recruiting his guys, finding his skill position players, I do think Notre Dame is a team that should keep eyes on them. And they may end up getting the 1 seed by backdooring their way in. I said this to Ryan Horvat last week. I think one of the things that has me most intrigued about this college football season is that it feels, and maybe it's because of the 12-team playoff, or maybe it's just because NIL and the portal have worked exactly the way we hoped we would in our best case scenario. Does it not feel like we have more contenders this year than we've had in a long time? I think Georgia's a contender. I think Ohio State's a contender. I think Notre Dame's a contender. I think Penn State's a contender. I think Clemson is a contender. I think Texas is a contender. I think Oregon is a contender. Honestly, and I might be starting to stretch with some of these teams, I absolutely think LSU is a contender. In fact, I would go so far as to say, if LSU is not a contender this year, they might kick Brian Kelly out of the family. They might run up out of the family reunion there in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, if he doesn't get it done. So I think LSU is a contender. I know a lot of you guys are out as if 1 year was enough time to pass a judgment call on Kalen DeBoer at Alabama. I think Kalen is going to have this Crimson Tide team back. Recruiting classes 3 years in a row are top 5, top 6, top 7 quarterbacks. Recruiting classes with top-notch quarterbacks. I think Alabama. The interesting thing about Alabama is it is not just a coaching shift in Tuscaloosa. It is a whole-on culture shift at Alabama. Apparently, and I got told this a couple of days ago, I have not spent the time to go verify it. Take it with a grain of salt. There were some folks in Tuscaloosa who were upset because apparently a few weeks ago, after one of the spring workouts before the spring game, apparently after a practice, tough practice, grueling practice, apparently Kalen DeBoer had an ice cream truck show up to practice and give the fellas a nice little ice cream Sammy after they were out there in the sunshine getting the grind on. And the folks in Tuscaloosa were like, Nick Saban would never. Yeah, but this isn't Nick Saban.
It's also ice cream, man. How can you hate ice cream?
I think
unless you're lactose intolerant, but then there are other things that you can have.
Lead singer of my band, Teddy, good buddy, he is lactose intolerant and will straight up tell you, I'm eating the ice cream and I'll just pay the price later. I'll pay the toll. I understand it. It's a culture shift. I told you when they hired Kalen DeBoer, this is going to be a culture shift because Nick Saban, Mr. Bleep through a tin horn, the Nick Tater, there was no minutes off for Nick Saban. And I'm not saying that there are minutes off for Kalen DeBoer. I'm saying that it's a different breed of football coach. It's a different breed of culture. It is going to take some time for him to institute whatever this all looks like, and it is going to take some time and wins for Bama fans to accept their new reality without their Lord and Savior, Nicholas Saban. I think Alabama's a good team this year. I think they are a contender. I'm out on Miami because I just don't think Mario Cristobal is the guy that knows how to handle the business when the high-pressure situation shows up. I think Clemson is a contender. I don't know if Utah is. They get rid of Cam Rising. He was there for, 27 years? They finally move on from Cam Rising. The young quarterback they got at Utah is expected to be a dude. But I just don't know defensively that they're going to be able to stop any of the big-name offenses. Point here is, looking at Brett McMurphy's 12-team playoff field, I think there's probably 7, maybe 8 teams that could legitimately win a national championship this year. And despite the portal and the NIL and the wild, wild west and the House v. NCAA and the college football or college sports commission and all these other things that were supposed to be harbingers of doom and gloom for college football, I'm the most excited going into this year that I've been in a long time because it genuinely feels like there's a number of teams that could win this thing. I have no idea who's going to. I'm pumped about this. When we come back, let's take a look at the 10 most important football games. Not best, important football games of the 2025 season. That's next on The Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Yep. T-Swizzle, I also said that same thing. I like Marcus Freeman. I like what they're doing. I'm not there yet. I'm going to get to the most important games coming up in the 2025 college football season here in a minute, but we've got a Miami fan in the chat. Mason showed up just a moment ago, said, as a Miami fan, I gave up on Cristobal when he refused to make a single defensive adjustment against SMU. So this Miami team, and the reason I think it is important to talk about Miami for the local audience is because of the fact that Miami is probably one of, if not maybe the only threat to Clemson's winning of the ACC this year. Miami's got a bunch of talent. I'm not necessarily in on Carson Beck as like a program-changing quarterback. I think he's good. Obviously, made a run with Georgia last year. Left to go down to Miami with Haley Cavender? I don't know, whichever one of the Cavender twins that he moved down there with. Trouble in Paradise, they broke up, not the point. I think he's fine. $2 million in NIL money seems a bit steep for Carson Beck. And on top of that, and this was a takeaway I gave on the network the other day, if Carson Beck was a $2 million NIL quarterback, do you think Georgia wouldn't have found enough money? Now, granted, maybe the Cavender twins were taking care of my boy and enough that he would go, this is more awesome than $2 million. But I got a hard time believing that. If they were going to, and Georgia, if Kirby Smart really valued Carson Beck, they would have found the money to keep him there. So he moves on. That being said, I do my best, Mason. I do my best not to let a moment define any one person, especially if I don't know what's going on in that moment, because, you never know what's going on in somebody's life. They may have some problems, some struggles we never know about. I try not to let one moment. Now, if you show me a pattern of behavior, yeah, there's going to come a point where I go, nah, dog, that's just who you are. All right? You've showed me. That's who you are. As the legendary Maya Angelou once said, if someone tells you who they are, believe them. But I do my best not to allow one moment to define somebody, except Mario Cristobal. Because of not just the game that you bring up there, Miami, SMU, when you are correct. I believe Kevin Jennings had taken over at that point last year, but it doesn't really matter. Rhett Lashley at SMU, who I really like, Rhett Lashley was coaching circles around Mario Cristobal. And Cristobal had no idea what to do about it. And then there is the moment that I was talking about. The Georgia Tech game last year. A Georgia Tech game that Miami had won. And they then decided to write a new definition, a new illustration of the phrase, snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. Because in that game, up a score, with the ball, less than a couple of minutes left to play, even my 7-year-old nephew, if we were playing EA Sports College Football 2025, it's in the game, would say, Uncle Rob, take a knee. You got 4 downs. There's less than 2 minutes. It's 24 seconds a pop. Kneel the ball. Take the knee. Roll the clock. Let's get up out of here. Let's head on down to South Beach and throw a victory party. And instead, for whatever reason, either Mario Cristobal or his offensive coordinator, it doesn't matter because it ultimately ends with him in this spot, decide that they're going to run the football. Miami fumbles the football. Literally, the only bad thing that can happen in that spot for Miami is you give the ball away. Instead of taking a knee, running out the clock, or at the absolute worst case scenario, getting the 4th down and punting the ball to the Rambling Wreck with seconds left to play, effectively creating a world where a miracle punt return for a tutty is the only way they can do anything here. They run the ball, they fumble the ball, Georgia Tech gets it back, Brent Key dials up an incredible drive, Georgia Tech goes down the field, they score, and they steal the game away from Miami. One moment, I do my best not to let one moment define who you are, that moment defined who the hell Mario Cristobal is. He's just a guy that has no awareness. And when the fire gets cranked up and is at its hottest, when the lights are the brightest, whatever euphemism phrase you want to use here pops up, Mario Cristobal is not a guy that I trust. I would say right now, whether it's in the regular season, ACC title game, playoffs, doesn't matter. If Mario Cristobal gets matched up with Clemson, you could give him the better team. And for the record, I do not think he has the better team. But you could give him the better team. And I don't think he beats Dabo Swinney. Because I think Dabo would put the screws to him. And I think if Dabo puts the screws to him and creates a world where we are playing chess with my offense and your defense, my defense and your offense, I don't trust Mario Cristobal to be able to do a damn thing against him. And if Mario Cristobal and the Hurricanes can't get by Clemson, maybe they go 10-2. Maybe they go 11-1. Maybe they get in. Maybe they're the 8, the 9, the 10 seed. Maybe they sneak in. But does Miami have the talent to go mano-a-mano with the Buckeyes? I don't think so. And even if they did, do I trust Mario Cristobal to be able to go tit for tat with Ryan Day? I absolutely do not. Do I think he is going tit for tat with Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame? I do not. Do I think he is going to? In fact, it would be easier for me to look at the coaches on just using it as a reference here. Brett McMurphy's college football playoff bracket. Do I think that he is going tit for tat with, let's look at the teams. Brian Kelly? Nope. I don't even think Brian Kelly's the guy at LSU. But I think he would outcoach Mario Cristobal. Do I think he's going toe-to-toe with Dan Lanning? I think very few can. Steve Sarkisian? Nope. Marcus Freeman? Nope. Ryan Day? Nope. I think James Franklin might be the only guy that I think he goes tit for tat for in a big-time game, and that says more about how I feel about Big Game James than I do about Mario Cristobal. Not with Kalen DeBoer, not with Kirby Smart, not with Dabo Swinney. I don't think he's able to go head-to-head with either of them. And as Brian just pointed out in the chat a second ago, Mario Cristobal was at the University of Oregon as their head coach before he split from Miami, which, okay, I understand. All right, I get it. I get why you want to go. Did nothing with the Ducks. As soon as he leaves Oregon, Dan Lanning shows up. And was it the very next year or the year after that? Doesn't really matter. Within a very brief period of time, Dan Lanning takes the Oregon Ducks and he turns them into a national championship contender. He turns them into a team that wins the Big Ten in their debut year, their very first time out. He takes that team immediately after Mario Cristobal with much of the same talent. He takes that Oregon team and he takes it to heights that Mario Cristobal couldn't sniff when he was at Oregon. Now he goes to Miami. And again, Miami's got just about as much in the way of resources as anybody else financially. If you are telling me that as a 17-year-old kid, having your way paid to live on South Beach ain't it for you, man, I don't know what to tell you. It was for me and a whole lot of other kids. And kids that go to Miami want to be at Miami. And yet he shows up, and last year, with one of the most talented Miami teams of all time. Last year, with a guy at quarterback who just went number 1 overall in the National Football League draft. Mario Cristobal couldn't beat Georgia Tech. When the game was over with 2 minutes to play, he still found a way to lose that game. Against SMU, Rhett Lashley was making Mario Cristobal's defense look like it was lost for the entire game. Part of the reason that I've been telling folks over the past couple of weeks on the network when I've been picking up some extra gigs with them, that my easiest vote of confidence as far as a conference champion is Clemson in the ACC. I mean, a lot of it has to do with the fact that the ACC is just not good at football right now. I hope that changes. I hope it gets fixed. We'll see. I hope everything Lonzo says about Bill Belichick is correct because it would be better for that conference if it is. I hope that Mike Norvell gets it fixed and turned around in Tallahassee, better for the conference if it is. I hope everything I'm saying about Mario Cristobal, he takes personally this year and gets it fixed. I hope all those things are true because I want the ACC to be good. It's more fun. But it's not right now. It stinks. It's not a good football conference. And if that is the case, then it may very well come down to Mario and the gang are just capable of cakewalking their way to the ACC title game against Clemson. But even if that's true, I don't trust them in the big spots. This is why I don't just have Clemson winning the ACC. I have Clemson in a playoff spot. I have Clemson in a top 6 playoff spot. I'm kicking around a little bit if I'm ready to put them in the top 4 and give them a first-round bye. I think there's a very good possibility that is the case. And it'll be helped a little bit by the ACC being down. It'll be helped a little bit by the fact that over in the SEC, LSU could win that thing. Texas could win that thing. Georgia could win that thing. Alabama could win that thing. Ole Miss, Texas A&M, there's a second tier of teams that may be able to pull some upsets to decide who wins that thing. I don't know. I don't think that there is an undefeated team in the ACC this year, or excuse me, in the SEC this year. If there are no SEC teams that go undefeated, I think it is a possibility that there's one, maybe at max 2 Big Ten teams that are undefeated this year, at absolute max, and even that I doubt. Regular season, of course. I think there's one at max 2 regular season undefeated Big Ten teams. I think the door is open for Clemson to be a top 4 team in the playoffs, if that sort of thing matters to you. And part of the reason I feel that way is I just don't feel that there is a threat from Miami because it feels like they are being coached by a guy who just does not know how to rise to the moment. If I can't trust you with a lead over Georgia Tech and 2 minutes to play to make a decision that my 7-year-old nephew would make if we were playing Xbox together. Kneel the ball, Uncle Rob. If Uncle Mario doesn't know in that spot to take a knee, I got zero trust in this guy to be able to know what to do when his defense is staring across the line at Cade Klubnik with the ACC and a title berth on the line or a playoff berth on the line. I'm out on Miami. I do not see Miami making the playoff. I don't see him in that spot. All right, when we come back here in a minute. Now, let's take a look at the most important games of the 2025 college football season. We will do that next. A guy I do trust to make the right decisions at the right times and push the right buttons to lead us all to victory. Lonzo with a Sports Flash.
Wow. I appreciate your trust. The Atlanta Braves were shut out at home again last night, dropping a 4-0 result to the Angels. Grant Holmes threw 6 shutout innings, striking out 10, but Dylan Lee was tagged for 3 runs while recording just 1 out. The Indiana Fever won the WNBA Commissioner's Cup with a 74-59 win over Minnesota last night, despite not having Caitlin Clark due to an injury. Former Gamecock, Aaliyah Boston, had a dozen points with 11 boards and 6 assists. The Milwaukee Bucks have waived Damian Lillard and used that money to sign Myles Turner, who departs the Pacers just 9 days after Game 7 of the NBA Finals. League MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is now the highest-paid athlete in the Big Four, agreeing to a 4-year, $285 million super max deal. That's a lot of money, people. It is. Hour number 4, Rob Brown Show, coming up. By the way, Brian, I appreciate it, but I have more than that. Now I'm over the hill, washed up. Can't win anymore. It's all over. Got to hang them up. My name on the sheet used to mean championship. No longer. Lost a touch. Lost a step. Oh, that hurt.
Make sure you push your glasses up with your finger when you say, well, actually.
That just makes me miss Odie, who flipped me off every time he pushes his glasses up.
My dad used to do that. Oh,
Yeah.
it infuriated
Yeah.
me. I'm like, I
Yeah.
know you're not doing it on purpose, but I kind of think you
Oh,
are.
well, Odie was. So. Sometimes I might have deserved it.
That doesn't work for me, brother.
The Rob Brown Show, back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate, back 60 in play. I am Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo on the other side of the metaphorical glass, in charge of this and every radio station that you've ever heard, but that you've enjoyed. Only the good ones, ladies and gentlemen. Great to have you. Let's get to it. Let's have some fun. We're kicking around a little bit of anything and everything, but I told you, as it is officially ranking season, we got to build lists. We got to rank stuff. That's just how it goes. As a part, we got less than 2 weeks away until we are live every single morning from SEC Media Days at the College Football Hall of Fame. That'll be on July 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th. The week after that, we will get on the road up to Charlotte, North Carolina for ACC football kickoff as well. And once we get to that point, because when you come out of media days, we're like a handful of days away from fall camp. We have an NFL preseason football game this month.
Absolutely. I think it's the 30th or the 31st.
Yeah, I think it's the last day of the month. We have an NFL preseason game this month. I mean, it is football season in a week and a half. But right now it's ranking season. So let's do a ranking. I started last night to sit down and compile a list of the most important and impactful college football games of the 2025 season. And the beauty of it all is that we got a few of them right out the gate. Like, for instance, game numero uno. To Columbus, Ohio, we go on August 30th. Ohio Stadium. When the two frontrunners today in Las Vegas to win your national championship, the Texas Longhorns, the Ohio State University Buckeyes, SEC v. Big Ten, right out of the gate. A lot of folks picking one, if not both of these teams to make it to the College Football National Championship. This could be, theoretically, a national championship preview when it's all said and done. Repeat and preview. Very interesting game right out of the gate. Zoe, your Buckeyes this year, with the pressure being there on Big Game James. Yes, the Oregon Ducks lost some dudes this year. Still a good team. Everybody's in on Dan Lanning. This is a massively important game for y'all because I do not think that there is the guarantee of a cakewalk through the Big Ten this year with some top teams up there that could threaten you when it's all said and done. I'm not going to say that a loss in this game eliminates either one of these teams. I am going to say that a loss in this game will pretty much make you need to be perfect the rest of the way.
Well, the thing is, you got to finish, top 3 in the Big Ten, and you're probably going to make it. So, I mean, more than likely, a top 2 for sure, maybe top 3. So a loss, they can recover from that. They'd have to definitely beat the team at the end of the year that they face. But I don't know how good this quarterback is. And I think you've got to project them pretty high because they're Ohio State. But until I see him play, whoever he may be, because we don't know for sure who the starting quarterback is going to be, I don't know.
I'm
not trying to pour him out the team. I don't know.
No, you're not alone in that. I've had a couple of college football dudes on the network over the last couple of weeks that have told me that Julian Sayin, the young man who transferred up from Alabama after Nick Saban left and Kalen DeBoer came over, I've had a number of college football dudes, including Andy Staples, who was on with me over the weekend, say Julian Sayin has not cemented himself up as QB1 of this Buckeye program yet. They don't know. Now, for the record, I don't believe that. I think they're fine. I think Julian Sayin is a dude. I don't think I think he's got the talent from what I've seen, A, and B, it ain't exactly like Saban missed on many, if any, quarterbacks during his time in Tuscaloosa. If Saban thought that he is the dude, I am going to trust that he is the dude, but he has not cemented himself as QB1 yet. And then on the other side, we've got a quarterback that half the country believes is just like going to be coronated with the Heisman, not have to earn it, and half the people like me and Steve Spurrier are going, well, then why wasn't he the dude last year?
All I got to say is the Ohio State defense has been undersold the last couple of years. Don't undersell him this year. We're going to find out how good Arch is in the biggest game of his career so far.
I mean, biggest game of his career so far, and it may stay that way until the playoffs.
By the way, really quick, an aside, the Los Angeles Chargers report July 12th.
That's 10 days from now.
It is.
Yay.
Told you it's almost here.
Football's here. Still ranking season. I spent too much time putting together ranks to not do ranking season. Game number 2. This is one that I think I should probably move down the list, but let me tell you what it is, and let me tell you why I put it at number 2, and then I'll let y'all tell me if it is too high. November 8th, LSU at Alabama. Here's why I got this game here. Because I think that one of these two coaches, if not both of these two coaches this year, one of these two coaches may have their future with the current school dictated, and the result of this game may have a lot to do with it. Brian Kelly, if this LSU team does not succeed this year, Brian Kelly might get kicked out the family. This might be it for him. Because the LSU fans, whether they're spoiled or not, is up for debate. They are tired because the expectations for Brian Kelly were national championship or GTFO, bro. And they've not even sniffed it yet.
Why were those expectations there?
Because they weren't.
Did he win a championship with Notre Dame?
No, he did not. But okay. you will also remember that Brian Kelly made the argument, and I assume it's the argument that he made to get the job at LSU. He has said publicly since he's been to LSU that he was hamstrung by the academic requirements of Notre Dame. He was hamstrung by the administration at Notre Dame. He did not believe that the administration at Notre Dame was willing to invest in, was willing to simplify his ability to be the head coach there. He effectively blamed his, we'll say, failure at Notre Dame on Notre Dame. And part of the reason that LSU brought him down was because LSU is the opposite. LSU will defund everything in that state if they feel like the football team needs another $10 to win a natty. So that excuse will not fly in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And it's been a couple of years now. So they expect something here. On the flip side, Kalen DeBoer over at the University of Alabama. How many times have we said nobody should want to be the guy that comes after the guy? Nick Saban is the guy. When we talk GOATs, Nick Saban is one of the few guys in any sport that is not questioned as the GOAT.
I think unlike some other places, it's going to be hard to be the guy after the guy after the guy. A decade before it starts to fade a little bit because of all the things that Saban was able to do there.
I mean, that's fair. I would go so far as to say when I was broadcasting down in Florida when Shula and Mike Price were the head coaches at Alabama, they were still ranting about the Bear. Like, they were still ranting about Bear Bryant. Bear Bryant been dead two decades. They were still ranting about Bear Bryant in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I don't think you're wrong. In fact, quite the opposite. I think you are exceptionally right. The only way that you are going to break out of the shadow of the Goliath that was Nick Saban if you are Kalen DeBoer, or whoever follows Kalen DeBoer if that doesn't work out, or whoever follows Kalen DeBoer if that doesn't work out, is to win, is to get a natty. That's going to be it. So I do think the pressure's on Kalen DeBoer because I think if Alabama does not take a step forward, Alabama will be as quick as anybody else to pull the trigger on moving on to the next guy. Game number 3 that I put down on this list. Texas at Georgia, November 15th. I think this game is massively impactful. And the importance of this game may also increase if Ohio State beats Texas out of the gate. Because while I do not necessarily think that, although I said it a second ago, the more I think about it after Lonzo said what he said, I agree with him. While I do not necessarily think that Ohio State or Texas will have to be perfect the rest of the ride, whoever leaves that game, I do think that Ohio State or Texas won't have but maybe one more loss available to them. So this game becomes massively consequential. It is also an opportunity, especially if Sark loses to Ohio State in week 1. It is also a game that Texas can state their supremacy, their superiority in the Southeastern Conference this year. It is a game where they can, I think, and this might be a little dramatic, but hey, it's ranking season. It's July 2nd. Let's be dramatic. It is also a game that I think Steve Sarkisian could take the crown from Georgia. Like, Georgia's been the standard bearer for the Southeastern Conference for, a decade running now? They have been the model that everybody else has looked up to in the SEC. If Texas, coming off a run at a natty last year, If Texas, with high aspirations of getting a natty this year, if Texas ends up beating Georgia in Athens in this game, I think, great one, that at that point we would say the SEC now belongs to Texas. Georgia was the top dog. They are still a dog, but it is Sark and the boys that run the SEC now, and especially if they beat Ohio State and Georgia at that point in the season, provided there's not a dumb loss in there anywhere. I think that could be maybe a changing of the guard.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they already showed how good they were last year. If that's a step up if they can beat both those teams. I don't know if we should crown them after that, but you know.
I mean, I feel like we'd crown them in conference. I wouldn't say nationally, but I'd say we'd crown them in conference at that point. August 30th. Two teams we've already talked about a little bit earlier on today. We'll talk about them again here. August 30th sees Notre Dame at Miami. Why is this game this high on the list? Because of the two teams we talked about. Notre Dame, a team that, despite the fact that they last year they got close, but after Notre Dame got slapped by Alabama in that national championship game, the Manti Te'o game, after they got slapped, there was a narrative that started to get built about Notre Dame that, much like James Franklin at Penn State, they can get close, but they're just fooling you, right? They are fools, helmets colored gold. They can't get it done. Miami, like I said, I don't trust Mario Cristobal. I don't think Mario Cristobal is a top-notch coach. I do not think he handles the pressure well, and I think that was on full display in multiple games last year for the Hurricanes. Mario Cristobal's got an opportunity to break that if he beats Notre Dame. On the flip side, not that this is going to be Notre Dame's first big challenge, because we told you the schedule that they are rocking. They got Miami. They got Texas A&M. So it is the first game, not the most important game Notre Dame will play, but this is the tone setter. They go get slapped by Miami. Now that Texas A&M game, the Colts got a little blood in the water. So this game is huge as well. Game number 5, second time, the Ohio State University Buckeyes have made the list. Lonzo, November 1st, Penn State comes a-calling to Ohio Stadium. James Franklin and the Happy Valley Beavers make their way to Columbus, Ohio. James Franklin had a genuine opportunity to beat you guys in that game last year, and they let it get away from him a little bit. James Franklin just has not been able to get by Ohio State. With Drew Aller, with a trip to the Big Ten Championship last year in the belt, even if they did lose to a very good Oregon team, with everything that the Beavers have had going for them, the Nittany Lions have had going for them the last couple of years, this feels like a game that if James Franklin, as good as Ohio State is, second shortest odds in Vegas to win the national championship, if James Franklin can at least make this one competitive like it was last year, it could spell the beginning of the end for James Franklin. On the flip side, especially if Ohio State loses to Texas in week 1, if you lose to Texas and then again to Penn State on November 1st, I'm not saying Ohio State's done. I'm saying a lot of people would go to sleep on them. This game feels huge.
No wide out, not at Nittany Lions Stadium, at the Shoe, no problem.
No problem, he says.
Okay. When's the last time Penn State beat Ohio State?
I don't know, 1957?
It was more recent than that, but it's been a while.
This one's big. Let's keep going. I got a couple more for you. Number 6 on my list, Alabama at Georgia. This one's on September 27th. A lot of the same reasons here, especially if Georgia loses to Texas. This is a Kalen DeBoer game. This is we are still inside that list of the top dogs in conference. They've got to beat Georgia, because if they don't in this spot, Alabama, this is around the time, and I know that this one is late September, but it's early-ish in the season. This is one where the grumbling could start for Bama. The leash is much shorter in Alabama than it is most other schools. If they lose this game to Georgia, this could be the game that starts to trigger the grumbling amongst the Roll Tiders. Did we get the wrong guy? Did we culture shift too far in the other direction. We went from the Nictator to a guy who rolls ice cream trucks out onto the practice field when it's too hot outside. Did we get the wrong guy? And if Kirby gets Bama again, which remember, Alabama beat Georgia last year, but Alabama lost to Vanderbilt, Tennessee, and Oklahoma after doing it. So it ended up being an empty victory. Caleb DeBoer has got to win this game again, and then he's got to be able to carry it on past that, which he did not do last year. Number 7, let's go back to the Big Ten. Oregon at Penn State on that same day, September 27th. Listen, I will maintain that Oregon got an absolute garbage deal with their seeding in the playoff last year. There is no reason that the Oregon Ducks, as the Big Ten champs last year, zero reason that Oregon should have had, without question, the most difficult schedule in the playoffs, the most difficult path to the national championship. It just shouldn't have happened. It did happen. I think they're going to be upset about it. I think they're going to be mad. I think they're going to be firing back. However, this game, Lonzo, is in Penn State. I don't know that this is going to be the or a whiteout game, but I do know it's going to be a night game. And I do know the folks at Penn State are going to be loud.
It's got to be the whiteout game.
Yeah.
Does Michigan go there? I don't know.
I don't know, but didn't they picked a random game last year to do the whiteout game. They didn't do it against one of the top Big Ten. It was like Iowa, Illinois. They did it against somebody weird last year. I think this is the whiteout game. This is the most important home game that James Franklin and his Nittany Lions will play. If they are going to get into the Big Ten championship again this year, I'm not saying they have to beat Oregon, but if they don't, they would need Texas to beat Ohio State to give them that matched L. I think this game is massively important as well. And then number 8, just because I'm here, I don't think we need a ton of addition to it. I don't know if this is going too far, and I know obviously we've got a kind of a slant here because we haven't even gotten to some of the other ones yet out of the conference. November 29th, Ohio State at Michigan. Now, do I think Michigan's a national championship contender? No. Do I think there might still be some more drama Michigan goes through as there is still unresolved issues from the cheating scandal? Yes. But at the end of the day, Michigan gives Ohio State whatever the hell they can give them every year, and this is a rivalry that regularly sees a top 25 beat a top 5, an unranked beat a top 10.
Jeremiah Smith just gave him some bulletin board material. I don't know if you saw it.
I did not. What
he said he will not lose to Michigan again for the next 2 years that he's at OSU. Yes.
Ooh, I like that. And he's on the cover of College Football 2026. Oh, I'm down. So there's top 8. When we come back here in a minute, I got a lot more in the SEC. The first big Clemson game is coming down the pipe. I got a Florida game. I got an Illinois game on the list. We'll keep running through it because we got less than 2 weeks till SEC Media Days on July 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, but it is ranking season. So let's keep ranking things on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. OSU is ranked in the top 5. Franklin will choke and Penn State will lose. I mean, that kind of also feels to me like even if
they lose to Texas and they still are, and they win the rest of the games to that point, Ohio State will still be ranked.
Yeah, honestly, you can lose to Texas and you'll still be ranked. You might drop down to like 9-10.
Also depends on what they're ranked in the preseason.
You'll be 1 or 2. You'll be 1 or 2. Pardon me just a few moments, guys. Before we get to the next few games on the list, a texter confirmed, and I went and looked up during the break because I was curious. September 27th, Beaver Stadium, Oregon, Penn State, 7:30 p.m. kick, and that will be the whiteout game. The rematch of the 2024 Big Ten Championship game will be the whiteout game in Happy Valley, and I'm going to go ahead and say that game is the game of that night. There are some more games in and around that area. Let's keep going down my list of the most important games of the 2025 college football season. Happy ranking season. Number 9 on the list, September 13th, the University of Georgia travels on down the road to Rocky Top, take on the Volunteers. That's pretty good.
It was good. It was really good. You kept your cadence. You're right there.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more twang, but, you know.
Daggum Georgia taking on Rocky Top.
What's
Don't
that?
have nothing that rhymes. Oh, Rocky Top, you will always be taking on UGA. Get it? I had to rhyme it with G, so I G, but it's Georgia. So
I really enjoyed
it.
it. I'm so glad I was here for it.
Just a lyrical genius over here. Tennessee looking for a playoff trip for the second consecutive year, but you may have heard their quarterback ain't their quarterback no more. Nico Iamaleava. Haven't said that name in like 2 months. Still nailed it. Thank you very much. Dylan Sampson off to the NFL draft. This is a very relevant game because Tennessee feels like under Josh Heupel, they have been elevated to the next level of SEC play. I have already talked about Georgia once on this ranking season list. And part of what I said about Georgia was, it feels to me like this is a year where either Georgia will maintain the crown as the SEC's finest, or it will be ripped away from them. This game is two teams that do not like each other. This game is going to be a lot of fun, and these two teams at this point in the season, on September 13th, these could both be top 10 teams. They will both be preseason top 10. Georgia's won 8 straight against UT, 13 of the last 15. Changing the narrative for Tennessee will likely require winning this game. Game number 10. I honestly probably should move this game up a little bit higher. There's probably a game or two that and again, I'm reading you my initial list off the cuff yesterday, right? I didn't put a ton of time into it. It was just, these are the important games as I see them popping up. Opening day, August 30th, LSU at Clemson. LSU has not won a home opener under Brian Kelly. LSU has not won a home opener since Joe Burrow was their quarterback back in 2019. That's great news for Clemson. The trend is in your favor. Clemson is a team that has picked up a lot of steam as a national championship pick for a lot of people. Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight, which you can hear here on this fine station, 7 to 11 p.m., although Ryan is out this week. Ryan Horvat has selected Clemson as his preseason national champions. A lot of folks are in, and that is not with me on there advocating for Los Tigres. That was him. He had that pick ready to go before I made my appearance last week. This is about Cade Klubnik and Garrett Nussmeier. This is about Dabo Swinney versus Brian Kelly and his family. This is a tone-setter game for Clemson. LSU, as I have mentioned, I think their head coach is up against the wall. A loss out of the gate again for Brian Kelly could put a negative tone on this team. And from everybody I have talked to that has worked with, for, and around Brian Kelly, he is not a cat that bounces back well from negativity. He is a dude that it festers with him. So if he goes on the road to the other Death Valley in a Tiger v. Tiger, Death Valley v. Death Valley matchup, and he eats that L out of the gate, especially if he believes that he might be on the hot seat in Baton Rouge if he doesn't do something this year, that could legitimately tank the Tigers season. The other Tigers, not these Tigers, the other Tigers. It could tank the, I was about to say the Tigers that were purple, but they both do that too. Tank the Southern Tigers over the South Carolina Tigers right out of the gate. Speaking of LSU, I got another one. This one's big. Florida, LSU. These two teams don't like each other very much. A lot of same reasons for Brian Kelly. I kind of saw basically all the big LSU games are on this top 25 list somewhere because Brian Kelly's fighting for his life. Game number 12, October 11th, Georgia is at Auburn. Auburn, pardon me, Auburn spent this offseason genuinely pouring resources into their football team. Auburn spent this offseason working on their NIL collective. Remember, they were in the news because they were having the discussion about maybe taking their athletic department private. They were having different discussions about finding new ways to add sponsors. I believe Auburn, if I recall correctly, was one of the teams that was fighting to be allowed to sell sponsorship logos on the field. You know, give us a milli. We'll slap your logo down on the 20-yard line for, I don't know, Georgia, Auburn, whatever. Auburn genuinely dedicated itself this year. And got question marks about the coach. But they brought in Jackson Arnold at quarterback, an Oklahoma transfer who, much like Spencer Rattler, when he left that program, was labeled as a dude who's got all the talent in the world, but unfortunately, under Brent Venables, just didn't scratch the surface of what he's capable of. Auburn's lost 8 straight to Georgia dating back to 2017. Same thing for Georgia we've talked about a couple of times. Conference superiority. Let's put the damn Fighting Illini on the list. October 11th, the Ohio State University, I believe this is appearance number 4 for them on this list, travels to take on Illinois in Champlain. Brett Bielema and the Fighting Illini have 16 starters back from a team that won 10 games and a bowl game last year. Brett Bielema's got the Illini folks, of which Brad Evans from BetMGM tonight is one. He has got the folks in Illinois, ILL, very excited about the direction they're in. This game is a game that with a W would solidify that. This game is a game that Brett Bielema would say, we're here. We're good now. You're going to have to deal with it. Illinois has got a good college football team. They bring back a lot of their guys from last year, which they had a very good 10-win year last year. This game, to me, Lonzo, might be the sneakiest game on your schedule. Because we know what Penn State is. We know what Oregon is. We know what Michigan
16
is.
starters, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Having those guys back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of starters coming back. Again, feel how you want to feel about.
Does that mean the same in the transfer portal era?
I think it does because even if I'm pro portal, I also understand that like chemistry is important. Guys understanding and wanting to fight for the logo. This is why I've said whether it's out of high school recruiting or whether it is out of the portal, I still want to make sure that I am getting guys who want to go to battle for the logo on the side of the helmet, not the name on the back of the jersey. I want to make sure I have guys that want to be there. Now, part of that is giving back to the boys so that they feel like they have a reason to go to battle for the helmet aside from, well, they signed me to a scholarship. You feel how you want to feel about Brett Bielema as a coach. I've talked to some folks from Illinois, mainly because when I sit in on BetMGM tonight with Brad Evans, he talks about them and he covers them. They're in the ILL. Bielema is a player's dude, man. That is part of the reason why last year during that bowl game, when Bielema came out and hit the T-pose, ticked off Shane Beamer, had Shane ready to explode on him. If you go back, watch that moment, look at the fellas wearing orange that day. They were in fuego. They were heated. They were ready to go to battle for that dude. Players coach, he's got dudes that believe in that program, and they are all bought in. This is their biggest opportunity in 2025 to prove it. And considering that they get the Buckeyes in a season where, as Lonzo pointed out, we don't know what the quarterback is going to be. There have been a lot of conversations that eased up with the championship last year, but about Ryan Day. But here's the thing about Illinois. They're kind of in a weird spot on the schedule, too, because you got Texas out of the gate. Then it's Grambling, Ohio, Washington, Minnesota. Could Ohio State be lulled into a false sense of security? And that is 2 weeks before the next week you're on the road at Camp Randall to take on the Badgers, and then it's Penn State. Fortunately for you, Wisconsin comes between Illinois and Penn State, but that ain't a bad Wisconsin team either. That's a weird spot on the schedule to catch a good team on the road if you're the Buckeyes.
I think they're a well-coached team. We'll find out how the defense, I talked about the defense earlier. They lost their defensive coordinator. How is that going to change things? They also lost their offensive coordinator, now that I think about it. So because Chip Kelly moved on to the NFL. So there are a lot of big ifs, but if you are of the belief, and a lot of people seem to be, that Ohio State bought their championship last year, they still got money. So they're probably good.
$35 million worth of it, according to their NIL valuation this year.
And I think you said number 2 was Texas.
Correct. At
the
30,
2 teams that were playing
2 teams
for
favored.
Yeah.
2 teams that played for it last year and 2 teams that are favored to do it again this year. I've got Michigan at Oklahoma, just to wrap it up. Michigan at Oklahoma on September 6th. I've got Alabama at Florida State on August 30th, because whatever coach goes, somebody's going 0-1, either Florida State or Alabama, and that coach, Norvell or DeBoer, is going to have a big question. Indiana at Penn State on November 8th. Is my guy coming back? We'll see. SMU at Clemson. In the ACC Championship rematch. No date for that one set yet that I'm aware of. USC at Notre Dame, Arizona State at Iowa State, and Alabama at South Carolina at number 20. Those are some of my most important games. I will be shaping that ranking as we move forward. Who do you like? Who do you not like? What game did I not give enough credit to? What should I give more credit to? What do you think, people? Give me your thoughts. 844-326-3663. The Hub City Spartanburger text line is open. We got one segment left. We hit it running when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Hub State.
He was in the news recently, James. At least I saw something on X about something.
I got you. I don't know if it's why he was in the news, but I know why why Edo is in my news.
That's something. It was like some beach thing or something.
Nope.
Okay.
Better. Hang on.
It's not like you're mixing the theme from the dating game and Rocky Top. It's a music version.
It is because, ladies and gentlemen, there is Ed Ogeron at an LSU-themed wedding. Coach O asked the live band to play Neck, which, if that means anything to you, good job, you degenerate. O takes to the dance floor and goes tarps off at the wedding reception, gets the party started. Whoa. Do. O is just a dude. Coach O is
How many
after
beers
it.
in is he on that, or is he just like?
It's Coach O. A lot.
Water. Okay.
A lot. I assume a lot. I assume many. Coach, listen. Coach O's just out there trying to help the
I wish
ladies.
I had that old man confidence. I just don't. I'm not doing that.
Oh, you're going to go on Coach O. You go out there and talk to the
I'm
ladies.
also not rich, and if he manages money correctly, he's still rich.
I met multiple the ladies in Destin that had their night of passion and romance with Ed Ogeron. Wish that was a joke. 'Tis not. O is apparently a very generous lover. It's a sentence I've never said before.
Generous as in payment after, or okay, all right. So I didn't.
As in, he makes sure all involved parties have a lovely time.
Okay, there you go.
Good for O.
Yeah.
Kevin O'Connor is now reporting that the Lakers are indeed looking to save cap space for the 2027 free agency period to sign a max-level player. That's awesome.
So I haven't watched it yet. I'm trying to avoid spoilers, but apparently Ironheart dropped the other 3 episodes yesterday.
Yeah.
So all 6 are out now.
Yep. I got the push alert from Disney last night.
You get push alerts from Disney?
When they drop Marvel stuff. Marvel or Star Wars stuff.
Okay.
I get a drop.
I mean, you might be getting alerts telling you when the next Disney on Ice is coming to the well. I mean, yeah, I will finish that today. So, had an in-depth discussion about it Saturday because it touches on something that we've talked about before, but I'm not going to talk about it now because Rob hasn't watched it. So, some real life stuff.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, and you. Be a part of the show. 844-326-3663 is the number. We have been there a couple of times today. We are not going to do a whole new segment on the Lakers, but I did find this interesting, and since we have hung on this for a hot minute, I think it is worth bringing to those of you that stick around for the duration of the radio program. Kevin O'Connor, who we played a clip from him earlier in the show talking about the LeBron James / LA Lakers situation and the drama that's been going on around it, has now said on his social media that Rob Pelinka, the GM of the Lakers, who stays in that role even after the $10.1 billion sale of the squad, is apparently trying to save cap money that he can utilize to put towards acquiring a max contract player in 2027. Now, I'm dumb, but I did do some scientific research during the break. And what I discovered through great experimentation and just unbridled dedication to the cause was that we are currently living in the year 2025. And that the year 2027 is 2 years away. I mean, I guess technically now it's a year and 6 months away, but it is 2 basketball seasons from now. So a team that currently has on it top 10 NBA player LeBron James, top 10 NBA player Luka Doncic, paired together and got Luka on a steal, is looking to save money to build a team in 2027. Remember that thing I said earlier that they'd be real dumb if they do? Apparently that's the thing that they want to do. So, cool. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Whatever. All right. What else do we want to get to? 844-326-3663. I haven't given out the number of times today. That's on me. That's my bad. SGA is now SG Paid. That's the new nickname. Because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander signed a contract yesterday that I genuinely thought my phone was broken when I read it. SGA signed a 4-year supermax extension to stay with the Oklahoma City Thunder. 4 years, $285 million for the Thunder guard. That is a lot of money. In fact, I need to let me run the numbers real quick. That works out, great one, to $71.25 million per year. Now, let's say that with injuries and load management, and of course, maybe some off weeks late in the season because the Thunder wrap up a seed early or whatever. And I think it's fair to say, let's say SGA plays 71 games per year for the next few years. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is about to make $1 million every time he plays basketball. Holy crap, man.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, good for him. Get the bag. If somebody's willing to give it to you, take it. You have my full support. Here's what else I want to say. The price of going to see sports is never going back down, right? Like, we know that now. The price of going to watch a game is never going back down. I have been locked in a battle of conscience over the past week or so, because ever since we booked and made official the fact that your boy's heading over to the ATL on July 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th for SEC Media Days, and I also found out, coincidence of coincidences, that the MLB All-Star Game is also in Atlanta in that very same period of time. I had a conscious debate of, do I go to that game? I've always wanted to go to an All-Star game. I am a baseball romantic at heart. Should I go? And then I looked up tickets because I was going to go. And then I found out that to sit in the 400 section out in left field, quite literally as far away from home plate as you can be while still being in an upper deck section, I'm coming off 550. I'm coming off half a GER. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And then I look at this contract and some of the contracts that are being handed out. And again, I don't fault SGA. I understand it. The Thunder did what's best for them. Y'all, I don't know if we're ever going to hit the point where going to games is exclusively a benefit for the rich. But it kind of feels like we are. It kind of feels like we are. They just handed this man $71 million a year to play on average 71 games a year. That's a lot of money, man. It's a lot of money. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. I have told you for a long time.
Maybe if you send him an email and tell him your plight.
Shai.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you'd be like, oh, let me take care of my boy, Rob Brown.
Can I get 50, please? Can I get 50?
I was just saying, just get you into the All-Star game. That's all.
That's unbelievable. I did try to talk to folks at BetMGM to pay for my ticket and send me. I was like, oh, I'll cover it real
what
good.
You should have done in the first place. Absolutely.
Yeah, I know. I screwed up. What do you want? I screwed up. All right. That's so much money. Yeah, we're just losing sports. I don't know if there's ever going to be a point where sports come affordable. Like, I appreciate Arthur Blank and what he's doing over in Atlanta. I'm actually, while I'm over there, I will be going to a live sporting event on that Wednesday. Atlanta United is playing Chicago Fire at Mercedes-Benz. I've actually not been to a game there yet, so I'm actually going to go with a buddy to Atlanta v. Chicago on Wednesday night. Part of one of the reasons I can justify that is tickets are like $40 for that, but you go in and the beers are like $4, right? So I appreciate them making the in-game purchases.
So this is Wednesday night, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're gonna be there Thursday though. So we're good Thursday morning, bright and early.
I mean, that's the plan.
Okay. All right. I just
that's the That's the plan. Is to be there Thursday morning, bright and early. That's the plan.
Probably some really good teams there Thursday. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just saying.
Hey, South Carolina's on Monday. I'll be alert for Buddy of the show, Shane Beamer, and the crew. By Thursday, I might be a little tired. There's also a night where they do adult night at the aquarium, the Georgia Aquarium, where there's no kids allowed, and they turn the aquarium into a bar.
Let's go.
I've never been more excited.
So, drunken looking at fish? I mean, by the way, those aquariums are really cool. I just don't know why that's more appealing. Because there's a bar.
Because I'm like Miguel Angel Cabrera. Big bottle of wine and a cigar fixes most of my problems. Because I'm
You're going to start talking to the fish? I mean, that might be entertaining.
Fish are friends, not food. I'm a big aquarium guy. The only issue I have with the aquarium, because I'm 100, is that you'll let your damn kids run around and scream and yell and hoot and holler while I'm trying to enjoy the fishies.
Stop with the kids thing.
They got whale sharks.
By the way, the aquarium is geared for the demographic. I don't know if you knew this, but I'm pretty sure it's for kids. I'm just saying.
Nah. I'm not saying don't bring your kids to the aquarium. I'm saying I deserve one night where there are no kids that I can appreciate nature's wonders.
And you got one.
In silence.
I mean, good for you. And nah was your best answer all day.
Nah.
All right. The first thing that's Xing is Jurassic World Rebirth.
Okay, so I said this on one of the shows the other day. They know they're never going to recapture the magic of OG Jurassic Park. I was 8 years old when that movie dropped in 1993, and I remember vividly my mother and father taking me and my little brother to go see that game, and I remember vividly when they are in the Jeep and he reaches down and turns Dr. Elliott's head, and you see the Apatosaurus, which it is. Brontosaurus is not a real thing. There were only Apatosaurus, and it was like, wow. And then that first time you see that T-Rex, dude, as a child, the magic of that moment. And I assume even for those of you that were adults, the first time you saw a T-Rex come to life had to be this very cool moment. And I think they realize they're never going to capture that again because they burned through all of the beloved dinosaurs right out of the gate. So they're never going to capture it again. I think we all just need to acknowledge that the Jurassic Park movies are monster movies now. And this one has decided to go full B-class. Yeah, you're going to have the Spinosaurus and you're going to have the Mosasaurs and you're going to have a T-Rex in there, like to give you the nostalgia. But at the end of the day, the Jurassic Park movies are just summer blockbuster monster movies here. And while a couple of years ago when Star-Lord
Chris
Pratt was doing the Jurassic Park movies, I was kind of like, stop, guys, please, I'm begging you to stop. Like, let us just re-release original Jurassic Park. But now that I've accepted as it's in the same genre as Cloverfield, it's just a monster movie with some tension in it, I'm actually right back in.
Okay, I am not interested in it at all. It comes out tonight.
Plus ScarJo running around in the woods. Yes, please.
I want to see if in theaters have recovered. We'll see if people go see even a movie that I don't think.
Oh, you know what I saw yesterday that's in that vein? You'll appreciate this. I saw yesterday that apparently some of the movie theaters, some of the movie studios are discussing lengthening, like all of them would have to get on board, previews to upwards of 30 minutes of previews.
AMC is adding commercials as of today to all their showings. More commercials before a movie. All right, the next thing that's...
Don't you miss when you just sat in the theater and they had like elevator music playing in the background and you just kind of chatted and now it's like, go buy a Coke.
Yeah.
Go buy a Coke right now.
Yeah, I'm partial to the drive-in and let's all go to the lobby and buy ourselves a treat.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right, the next thing that's Xing is Red Panda.
The little popcorn roller coaster thing. It's kind of cool.
Stitch is on it now.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
Yeah.
Red Panda. Oof. Red Panda took a spill yesterday. You know Red Panda, she's this Chinese lady who like does tricks. She like rides unicycles and she like throws plates and she like catches them on her head and then she spins a bunch of plates. Like it's just a kind of a classic old entertainment thing. And she's been doing it at basketball games. When I went to the Charlotte game, I guess 2 years now ago up in Charlotte, Red Panda did the halftime show and it was like, This is magic. She's a magical lady. She does magic. And apparently she took a spill last night at the Commissioner's Cup game between the Fever and the Lynx. But that's not even really the funniest part. The funniest part is after the win in the Fever locker room, one of the girls on the team went live on Instagram, and they were hitting, you got to dance on TikTok for the dub. They went live on Instagram. Caitlin Clark walked over, grabbed the girl's phone, like stopped their dance, and was like, yo, we just want to say, shout out Red Panda. You're the GOAT. Get better. Get well soon. We want to see you again. And one of the girls in the background was like, pretty sure she's not watching our Insta, Caitlin. I don't know why it made me laugh, but it did. Also, not in that vein, but in that vein, Caitlin Clark is my GOAT. A video came out from her in the locker room after the dub, shotgunning a beer like a frat bro. Double C22, shout out. Love it. Love to see it. Love to see it.
Okay. The next thing that's Xing is Richard Petty.
I do not. Fingers crossed it's a birthday.
It is.
Richard Petty's 81.
88. He is 88.
Attaboy King.
All right.
Attaboy King.
The next thing that's Xing is Margot Robbie.
Nothing for her either.
Also her
birthday?
Yes.
Margot Robbie is perfect. 39.
35. She's only 30. She started hitting really good at a very young age.
Yeah, she
I'm
did.
sorry, as far as movies goes.
You absolute pervert.
And I don't know. I meant she became a
joke.
star.
She's a smoke show.
Yeah,
I'll be the pervert. She's a smoke show.
I don't know. I mean, who wouldn't want to get with Harley Quinn?
I saw Wolf of Wall Street, and it changed me.
I didn't. So from what I hear, there's like 375 F-bombs in it. All right.
Minimum.
All right. Finally.
Also, shout out Harley Quinn. You are correct.
Yeah,
Good call.
I mean, come on, dude. And finally, the last thing today is World UFO Day. Rob's favorite day.
Hey, I'm like the X-Files, baby. I want to believe. You just got to give me something.
Truth is out there, Rob.
You don't give me nothing. Yeah, the truth is out there, and it may very well be that the truth is we're floating alone in the universe. There's nothing but us. There's also the possibility there's plenty and we'll never be able to find out because the universe is expanding faster than the speed of light. It is impossible for us to ever see outside of our visible universe. Existential crisis engaged. Thanks for being here, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you didn't, I don't know what to tell you. Come back tomorrow. We'll try to do it again. We'll try to do better. Have a great day. For Lonzo, I'm Rob. See you back here tomorrow on The Rob Brown Show and The Fan Upstate. Later.
I can't stand this team. They got no balls. I want guys with balls.
So you're saying you want guys with
balls.
Okay.
All right, guys, I got to jet because I got to go bring my...
See, here's the thing. I've just finished up another season of The Boys, catching up on it. And when he said aquarium, I'm thinking Rob is the deep. And he's drinking and he sees the fish. And I'm trying to get it out of my head. I can't.
The octopus in the closet.
Yeah, it's the most disgusting thing in the entire thing is all the fish stuff. So anyway. And there's some pretty nasty stuff in there, but the fish stuff is just like, what boundary can we push all the way? And it's like, okay.
All right, y'all have a great day. Thanks for being here. You're all amazing people. Tell your friends about us. We're trying to get rich and famous and preferably retired sooner rather than later. See you back here tomorrow. Bye.